Hey, what up, chat? It's your boy. Welcome back to TFTV. We have the end of the season being upon us, but it's not quite Premiership's time yet. Those guys will have to wait a couple of days. For anyone curious, that is Thursday, 21:15. It is Monday right now, if you're watching the VOD. It is nice and early Tuesday, actually. I can't even go with time anymore. Either way, it's not Thursday yet. We have a couple of games to go through. First of all, we're starting off at the bottom of the rung in the divisions here with Open. It is me, DuMmTm, on the cast with Wheat on production, and joining me will be Megalodon tonight.
Hello everyone, and I'm excited to be here, excited to see how the Open talent perform tonight. I'm going to be interested to see whether we might see some more, high level maybe strats coming into play, or who knows, it might be an absolute DM fest, and we might have to really get our brains engaged to keep up with what's going on in front of us here, but an exciting match nonetheless.
Yeah, for sure. We have on one side Lit as the first seed team. I believe they're going to be joining us as the squad in red tonight, with Plutu's Forest on the other side, on the blue side of things. I do believe this happened once before in the regular season. In fact, at the very end of the season, week 7 match between these two teams went down to the wire. Not very close in Metalworks, 4-0 to Lit to take the first seed in the regular season. Plutu's Forest makes a much better effort there on the Process second map. That was 2-1 Golden Cap. So it's not impossible, but it's not going to be easy. Lit have not lost anything. The fact that the 1 point they lost to Plutu's Forest in week 7 was the closest match they had numerically is scary going to the rematch. Even playoffs, it hasn't been getting any closer for them.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, these are the two best teams in the division. Obviously, Lit has been causing a right tear up. Without, as you mentioned, they are undefeated, and it's going to be a bit of a challenge. But from what I see here, with how the play.
I think Mega's cutting off a little bit. There we go, he's fixing it. I can see his messages pop up in the Mumble channel, just trying to fix it real quick. It is what it is. The joys of technology. But the game should be live fairly soon. I'm interested to see how this one goes, for sure. For the people curious as well, I'm sure some of you guys know these players as well. The maps they're going through will be Snakewater, as you can see already, Sunshine up second, Granary as the decider. So I'm wondering how they're going to perform on these, which is to say there's no rematch maps from week 7 here. That might change some people's outlooks. We'll see. It's going to be tough. Plutu's Forest clawed their way here in a actually fairly decisive match in semis as well. I don't know if you saw that. I believe I streamed it. I don't know if you were there at the time, Mega, but they kind of stomped their way through semis on Plutu's Forest as well. So they're warmed up for sure.
Yeah, and I don't know if stream caught what I was saying earlier when I cut out, but these two teams definitely deserve the spot of the grand finals. They've both been really tearing up the division, and with Lit being the undefeated team, they're coming into this as the favourite to win. As we go into this first mid, Demo's training spam, Aaron takes a nice little sticky there, has to be tanked, healed up, and the Soldier Bomb already coming through, completely catching the Demo Man by surprise, Cyrus, and the return bomb to get onto the red medic, not quite working out. We have a soldier currently stuck in Saw, ready to commit, gets absolutely destroyed by Lit Fam, and there's only one scout left in Kitchen, but I think he's been spotted. There's really not much he can do here.
Surely one scout, surely Venom alone won't be cutting this one, so you'd have to hope for a little bit more distraction to happen, but what's gonna be that play? Well, we never find out. Venom tries to lock it on, gets so close to the medic, but half HP gone is just not 150, I'm afraid. Medic will stay alive. Things will drastically slow down from here. This was a lot of deep bombs in by the soldiers, but neither medic dies. But with one pick, they're going to try their luck anyway on the red side of things and just walk over the flank right away. Pat you down, Boomer falls back as well, and this opens up so many things into enemy territory. Soldier trying to go deep on both lobby and in on second. That's going to get them much earlier Uber out of the blue team, and they have numbers down, and worse Uber, they have no reason to stay, and such a desperate need to just set up something at last, because if they're already pushing with 1 on second, what are they going to do on the last point with 1?
so perfect from Lit there. They pressured beautifully every single doorway they could have used, and then they used that to catch out a soldier. Once they got that pick, they were able to exploit the flank, knowing that the roamer currently wasn't watching it. He was just rolling out as the other soldier died, so very good awareness there. But it's going to give them second. It's not going to convert around, so we're still in a bit of a safety zone on Snakewater last here. It's notoriously difficult to really create an advantage for the attacking team here, and as I say that as well, it's also very hard to push out, so it'll be interesting to see what happens here as a soldier just again peeks into this gun in the forward position. Very strong position for the gun to be, and we might be seeing an off class here. I think that's probably their best bet.
Well, if you're on the blue side, right, waiting 4 minutes to get out of here when mentioning the difficulties to push out of this point certainly doesn't sound so bad this early in the game still. Might be a little bit annoying, but I'd rather have a mild annoyance for 4 minutes than a round loss for the next 27. So we'll see. They tried a little bit getting you in forward with a sideline, but tough luck with that, especially now that there's, like you said, off class coming out the other side. The scout goes down so early in the stalemate, so easily as well. You better bet that man will spawn on the sniper. Lit against Hugh will be our little sniper matchup. See each other as well, but only one of them hits the shot they need. There we go. That's one already to start things off with, and we'll probably see you peek forward a little bit more again. But it's actually a Apatia going way in deep on second, trying to get something going and doing a good job of it. Finds another kill and helps the second soldier get in as well. They're making so much commotion on second just between the soldiers. An Uber comes out of nowhere practically. Apatia is still, unfortunately, stuck in the back lines though. One soldier that is just a bit of a question mark right now tries to do what they can in the back lines here. Cannot do much, but in the meantime, the rest of the team already pushed up, and red team just sitting there at grass thinking if they're still gonna approach us or not. They know they have an Uber, they want to get rid of it. It's dangerous business to go in for a force here, because if you don't get it, or should I say, when you don't get it at this rate, you're sitting here with nothing on mid anymore.
Blue didn't even have to use, and they have this full Uber to work with, and they don't even need to use it. The amount of picks they have, there's only a scout alive on red, leaving with his medic, and looks like they're going to stack this capture, looking to see if they can get any more value out of this, but it seems that it's just going to be a one soldier there. One soldier less on the second point now as they enter through choke. Both scouts and soldiers bombing through, creating space, and a bit of a duel has happened. Boomer overextending there in cheese, and you see another soldier death as well. Uber's about equal, and they really need to think about leaving here if they don't want to get caught, and that's exactly what they're going to do on the side of Plutu's Forest. Wise decision making there.
Yeah, call out the soldier bomb really nicely. They landed like close on those doors, but they just had the damage ready for them, didn't let them do anything at all in return. So it's stuff by Lit. They can take this one forward, at least back in second, but they want to get mid. Look at them, they're so far forward, trying to peek in here, dealing with stickies already, but after the sticky bombs, there's just more damage waiting. You gotta be really careful how you might approach this, or it could go wrong real fast. But now, looks like they learned their lesson. They're not just gonna bust through a choke point blindly. Gonna keep their med life as much as possible and have to grind their way out of another stalemate.
Exactly, and from what I've seen from Lit so far, their stalemate game has been pretty good, I'd say. You know, they've been pressuring the doorways well, but perhaps overstaying their welcome as Snowy just gets picked off there, I think, by Venom in Saw, and it doesn't really look like they're in a position to counter-sack on the side of Plutu's Forest. They're moving their way into choke now with both scouts. I do like this, it's just taking the space. Soldiers bombing in through. Now off the distraction is a beautiful force coming out here. Now cap time already on the side of the blue team, and with the full Uber to boot, 2 soldiers down. They're going to be looking to take this into last very soon with their combo.
Yeah, they made very little work really nicely into second here. Had the one pick and it was extended up the entire way. Already going to last. Sniper watching in the back. Doesn't matter if you just pop through the sideline. Devilman won't have that flash though. Nice pipe speaking of which by Aaron on the scout. Picks him before the beam can connect. And this just kind of went a whole lot of nowhere for Plutu's Forest. And it won't get out anymore either. Just pick up before they can leave. This was such a promising start. But just not the correct flashes for the medic will cost them dearly now.
That demo going down early was just spelled the end for that push, really. Remember, they were 1 soldier down from that second take and the force attempt, so we do see you.
Oh, no. You can't lose your mat like this.
Yeah, just 2 crisp rockets there to take down the med from that soldier. That's all it took. Just completely just wasn't spotted until it was too late, and Lenore getting caught out there. Another uber advantage for the blue side. No pick classes on the side of red, so we would assume that the threat of the sniper would make it a little bit easier for them, you know, not having to deal with that. But we'll see here as they're just looking to play off the uber alone. They're just looking to take buffs here, making their way through Saw. They're choosing a different angle, but perhaps actually realizing it's not the best position to take. They now want to take... they're going for a 5-1 split with one soldier in Saw, and yeah, this is good aggression here from the flank coming in, but not overcommitting, clearing out cheese, and the red players are forced to go into lobby, and with such an advantage, they did take that quite cautiously, but I'd say it's worth it here in a 0-0 game just to use your advantage to get that point capture.
Yeah, and did also notably check sticky traps hiding on the point there, did not fall trappings to that. Always got watch out for that. Soldier bombs coming through now for the blue team, seeing what they can get away with into last. Trying to get in somehow here, but the heavy is so annoying, but they still get the damage. And red team, all committed forward this is now. They want to just see if they can somehow squeeze in a kill, but it's just going to be the soldiers, not quite what you like to see on the blue team. Adam far and away already back on the second point at this rate. So all of blue team getting away with this nicely. Double bomb like this on this point. Not uncommon to see, but awkward for the heavy, right? You don't have the aim what the sentry gun has, and that just hurts sometimes.
Yeah, exactly, and we saw how much work the sentry gun did on the side of Plutu's Forest on last. The soldier couldn't even peek through the doorway before just getting melted, and obviously a heavy does not have that potential. He has to physically aim at where his opponents are. As Uber comes in straight onto the demo man, this is going to be a great pick there from Yug. He's already on point, going to bait people onto it. Already got nice cap time. Soldiers bombing through on the left-hand side, finally committing on the flank. And the frags are just begging to be cleaned up here, but the cap comes through firstly with the combo of red not being in a position to block. So that is going to be round 1 to Plutu's Forest. And I'm sure they're going to be feeling the hype right now.
Yeah, that gets the spirits up right now. You could be the ones beating the undefeated team. That would be one way to board the season with, right? You win the thing, you beat the guys that thought they couldn't lose. But it's far from over yet. This was only the first third of the map, and it's the best of 3 after all, so a lot more game has to be played, and that might just matter a little bit later down the road. For now, hot start. See if they can keep up the energy going into mid-fight number 2. Bombs already straight on the medic, and barely tanked it, but they're going down. Numbers 2 down on blue does not bode well for the rest of this.
Yeah, now they're just looking to leave here to escort their medic out is just a priority, but they don't notice that Araleles. Oh, they just spot him. They were aware. He tries to abuse the blind spot on the map to, you know, flank them around the corner, but it wasn't enough. So that was good communication there to notice that he was ready to commit on that flank, and we're now going to be seeing a bit of a similar situation where it's even Ubers on last. It's going to be really, really difficult, I think, for Lit to see, but they have 5 minutes, you know, it's not impossible. I feel like they just need to commit a bit more on these lasts. Maybe just throw more players and hope for the refight of the better spawns, I think is a really good strategy that we've seen in Prem recently, with the Snakewater attacking buff, with the spawn timers being slightly reduced for those that are spawning against the defenders.
Alright, Cyrus, nice early kill there. Gets a sort of the equation, which, I mean, it's not going to be a lot, right? You're not going to push out of that as the defending team most likely, but it just wastes so much time for the red team, right? And, I mean, hey, there's no 10 minutes anymore, just 5 minutes. Gotta put something together quick. Soho wants to be the one doing that, but they were watching the entire time. Boomer just on top of Blink Squad, literally shoots the rockets down, not giving him any chance. And anytime there's just only 5 life, it feels so annoying to actually want to make a proper play, because you just need the numbers to break this hold in any capacity, to be like a sack, like we've seen double sack, so much better than the single one just now. Or even if you just want to drive push, you gotta make sure you can rotate wherever way you want, and they want to exchange. They see the sniper, they don't like that fact, just right in on that guy.
And that is exactly what I want to see. Really intelligent Uber coming out to get the sniper frag, knowing that the sniper is essentially a 5v6 with the Ubers in play with the sniper at close range, and we see a soldier try to salvage a frag from the side of Plutu's Forest, but he's just going to end up being caught on mid with really low HP. He's not going to be able to do much here. He eventually gets cleaned up, and it's not going to be too bad of a detriment there, losing just one soldier. He's only 8 seconds away from hopping right back into the game here, and the Ubers as well, equal, just looking to build them up here, but no sentry gun on the side of blue. Perhaps they are also potentially going to be open for perhaps another soldier sack.
I can see why, right? Especially in lower divs, you're not going to be like thinking too heavily about building Uber with like double man on the sword or like soldier on the escape plan or whatever. It's just easier to be on the scout, so they're building Uber instead of a gun right now, but they'll have the Uber now, and that might just be all that matters. Red team pushing in from left side, losing Soha early though, and they know better than this. They know Adam's Uber will just crush them if they don't leave early, try to just forward while they can. That gets one on the way out, that's nice, but that just means he's the last one to leave. Still gets caught anyway. Not gonna look too great. 2 down. This is now the sketchy decision making you have to do as a defending team. You've been holding this for half the round timer so nicely. Is 2 picks enough for you to want to leave?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I think if you wanted to play it really safe, you would just stay on last here. It's again a very difficult one to push out from, and I'm interested to see how the red flank handles this, and so far they are covering all the potential doorways that they can enter last from. You've got 1 soldier on each flank, and the scout as well in cheese, ready to commit. Their sniper though only just arriving from the rollout. Litfam is just going to be playing the patient game here, it seems, waiting for a pick opportunity here to present itself, but potentially could happen with this heavy. They're a little bit slower on the defense. They're a bit less, they don't have as many generalist class. They're quite they've gone full heavy mode here with the heavy classes, and it could potentially be a disadvantage in this hold here. Sentry gun does go down, and this is an opportunity where you want to sack, but the sniper already going down. It's a 5v6, and of course the sniper you have to hit the headshots, but really I think you would want to take the ground before really going for that aggressive peak, unless you absolutely had a really good sightline from potentially Shutter. I know that Nubby really abused that against...
It was weird for the sniper though, because like they just got the kill, you gotta try quick, but they just didn't take into consideration where anyone was. There was just a soldier like on the Shutter at the time, already just waiting for it. Not the perfect moment to do that. The rally also goes in a little bit too far against the gun. Can't just spam this easily, and they keep trying. Oh no, it's actually completely different than what I thought. There's 2 people dying under. They want to get in as a flank for the push on the big wide open door on the left, but it's not working on either of these 2 fronts, and suddenly this is looking a whole lot of bad. Medics getting bombed still by a Patya on second. Beef some rockets though. That's going to be costly if they push out right now, and Cyrus is unsure. Look at that man on the bridge. Just wait for the rest of his team right now, and they're not really committed either on this idea. 20 seconds left, capping second. They could just go back to mid, and while the mid fight's theoretically a gamble, if you're just confident enough on the mid fight, and just win that one instead of throwing yourselves on the point here now.
Yeah, and they're just about arriving into lobby here. I don't think it's going to be possible, but they're going to give it a shot. Litfam already rushing across the point, getting the cap time. Soldiers bombing through. Heavy just completely mows down everyone on the point, getting absolutely tanked there. And it's only Araleli left as we go into the stalemate. It's going to reset back into a mid-fight, and Plutu's Forest, they're playing this Snakewater map incredibly smartly. Like, this is really impressive to see that the decision making that they've done so far is really a testament to,
especially
to how
since
well
they were
this
like
team's
halfway
playing.
committed to second already. It's like you gotta make a choice quick there, otherwise it's just game over. If you're still on bridge by the time the other team gets the last spawn up, you're gonna just lose that fight every time. But Lit is given the second chance here as well, and the rally just picks them apart for a brilliant bomb on the red side. Everyone's too late to party to rescue their medic. Shoots down, gets that kill, but what's left standing after that? Blue player is still cleaning up, Venom gets one more, and suddenly it's just the scout on point. It feels like Government's nowhere to be found just now in the middle of the fight, so far back already, but maybe that's just enough. Doesn't need to be reader, it's just the scout doing so much.
Yuke has potential here to go huge as well with his scout partner, but gets piped down by Aaron in the end, and Yuke is currently on the flank. He's looking for a chance to get a cheeky 1v1 here, and I would favour him in this situation. Have been on a team with this man, and he has really good DM, but against a soldier that's just watching the door, he just plays right into his hands, unfortunately, and does go down as a result. But those 2 scouts on mid looked quite scary there for a second, as we do now head into second.
When a mat gets caught like this, you cannot do it. Both medics going down a note by Boomer just immediately makes up for this. This man was on a mission before he even knew what the circumstances were, and I mean, the end result is still kind of more of the same. But I guess it's better than just dying for a blue team's perspective anyway.
Oh, the heavy is so strong here as the medics, the heals are both out of the equation, and with no buffed players, the heavy's just going to have a field day there, just picking off the soldiers, and then the scouts are just going to have almost no room there to get onto the point, to make anything happen, to get any picks with that. So, yeah, unfortunate there for TeToSe. It was a good attempt. They tried to make something work of it, but not really able to find anything. And they're looking to maybe try and pressure here from Saw. Soldier already committed high bomb coming in, but he's been spotted by both scouts, and he decides to wisely exit through Saw. And we see that Ubers are barely even. Plutu's Forest
going down.
Oh yeah, and this is exactly what they would want in this situation. They now essentially have 2 picks going into mid. Slight Uber advantage for TeToSe, but I don't think they know that. It's essentially equal as far as both these teams are concerned, and that is just going to be a nice mid take there without overextending. They just find the picks and carefully pick apart that defense.
Yeah, the failed backup attempt at the beginning of all this certainly just made things very easy, and then finding second soldier, and they're still going even further than this. They're hoping to catch people before spawns. Get Cyrus caught without a beam though, and this is really awkward now. This is such a classic lower level mistake where you just never want to use, but sometimes you just need to have layover. And this time around they're dropping so many people, but everyone's just feeding their way anyway, and they thought they could win that fight against a team called a Demo Man. They were dead wrong. They were just feeding in one by one into the meat grinder there, and it's not even over just yet. Soldier tries to hit these rockets, but Lenore barely gets away from this.
Yeah, and I guess it all worked out in the end because the double scout with the Uber advantage that they generated from getting that force was just enough. Venom just torpedoing through the choke with the Uber was able to just completely destroy the combo there. Did trade himself out in the end for a scout, but he pretty much won his team that space just by completely going in and using as much of that Uber as he possibly could, knowing that they had so much more to work with in terms of the duration. And now we're going to see even Uber's lost again once more. Just a sniper it seems, and a heavy for TeToSe, and seems like they're playing this just full on defensively here. They're just going to wait for the players of Plutu's Forest to peek into lobby, then get the picks, and then perhaps decide what to do after that. It's very much up to Plutu's Forest here to make a play, and we haven't seen them do anything in terms of stalemates yet with regards to last, so it will be interesting to see what they do here.
It was only advantage plays for them so far on last, and I mean, it worked immediately, right? But it's going to be grinded out the hard way. We've seen themselves actually do the stalemate pretty well on the defensive end, so maybe Lit put up some things from there, stole some ideas, but Lit overextending so far, really nice shots, and then just distracted
Aaron
on the
as well.
other side.
Aaron's getting caught
Big
as well.
bomb of that, huge of just a sniper distraction, and suddenly there's just no turning back anymore.
Amazed to see that. Aaron didn't have sticks on the right hand side, he only had sticks on the shutter door, and Venom just able to completely bully that sniper, shreds him to pieces, and then 2-shot across with the space created from that sniper pick. DuMmTm falling all the way back to spawn, gets caught trying to leave, watching the point, and that was enough to really get that round. Uber was popped in the end, but it really was Venom that opened that up for them. Next mid-fight, we're going to see both DuMmTm exchanging spam here. Cyrus getting the worst end of that as the soldier already bombs through. Oh, brilliant rocket onto Adam. That is going to force him all the way back into Saw, and Arulele is in with a nice bomb. 3 picks going the way for Arulele. 2 rockets and 3 picks. That was definitely something to see. Litfam committing on his own though. He doesn't even wait for Arulele to come back into the fight. And that could be a bit of a downside here. Oh, those rockets are so good. Oh, it's such a shame that they weren't quite synced together there. Arulele with the massive jumps there to get out after doing so much damage, but the coordination just not there in the end.
Alright, so far so good. Keeping this at a nice little only 8 minutes left. This is just getting better and better now for Plutu's Forest, right? They're already up winning. They're still winning these mid fights as well. Mind you, I don't know who picked what. Maybe Chad has some friends of these players here to inform us maybe, but for what it's worth, I mean, if you win map 1 in any best of 3, it's just gonna be looking good. With a little bit of advantage to spare as well. This should just be some momentum to second. Gotta be careful though, there's still a sniper watching, don't wanna fall traps to that, but they are really careful about it as well. They have small ad, they wanna use this to the full extent, just pop through, see what they can catch, almost ignore every craft behind the medic, they just wanna get to that money kill onto the map, and they're getting every single one of them really, really quickly, just no mercy on anyone getting out of there, and 16 seconds respawn. Will anyone even spawn in time?
No, it doesn't look like it here. 3 times capture, Soldier tries to jump, but he was the only one alive, and there was no way he was going to get to that point, and that was just a really good Uber. You know, you see a sniper, you just bomb him, you know, and the sniper gets caught in the choke, and then the combo trying to leave just gets chased down by the Ubered scout of Yug, and in the end it just worked out brilliantly for them, just closing the distance, and just really intelligent play, noticing that they were just slightly ahead on the Ubers there. Good foresight, good communication as we head into the next mid. Already Cyrus really aggressive. Aralelli again with a nice bomb there, picking up Adam, and there's 2 frags going away from the red side, so it's looking really good for them. A bit of a duel is happening in Saw right now as the blue players recommit, and from behind Venom picking up the medic, getting the demo man kill as well. Just a scout left alive on the midpoint, but combining with a soldier that managed to get in through catwalk, that was just enough there to finish that mid-fight off. And there we go, there's a mid-fight for Red, and their mid-fights have definitely been, in my opinion, the highlight for them on this map. It just seems that in terms of the actual engagements that they're taking, Plutu's Forest have their number, but these mid-fights are not looking too shabby, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, it's looking good so far here. Lit finally with a step in the right direction, but the timer is just going to be tough on them now. 6 minutes left. This is 2 minutes around from here. You can start the first one off a little bit quicker, I guess, from last, but you still have to break this first stalemate at some point. And that has been a sour spot already, and they need to do this at worst 3 more times, or 2 more times after that. It's going to be tough here, gun and heavy up both at the same time, just to make any approach be as painful as possible. And we've seen Plutu's Forest be happy to clock in the timer here, and if this gets even close to round timer ending, then the match is already decided. They don't have this time to wait anymore. There's got to be just rapid fire rounds from here. Oh, Boomer barely surviving interaction with Shutter Daughter. Just about gets away from the combo, but they're taking a bit of a beating as well. Want to spend some time healing up as well. Soldier's still weak too. It's just never a good moment to just throw bodies in right now, but you got to try anyway. They go through Shutter, just taking Lever and onto the gun. That's a good start.
Yeah, and they get 2 times. 2 picks there. Uber popped out from the side of Plutu's Forest, but they have a severe numbers disadvantage. They have severe spawn disadvantage, and these players are just getting onto the point. And yeah, they weren't able to find much with that Uber after it was forced. They could not salvage the disadvantage that they had before that, losing those players, and that was enough for TeToSe to get that round. So I think it was a good initiative there to take the trade. I mean, what more could you have done with the time being so tight here going into the next mid? We see a bit of a similar situation here with both of them, and eager to get the first point of damage. This time it's going to be Cyrus, and we see the soldier bombs from blue coming in. One soldier ends up in Saw, manages to grab the pack, but they're a little bit split here, but they do manage to get the demo man pick, which is so important. And with the help from Venom just playing across the enemy side, they're able to pick up even more kills, and it's only 1 soldier left, but that's a nice rocket 2 to boot, but it's not going to be enough there. It was a 6v2, and getting the 2 frags, while that was impressive, is only just going to favor the blue team more here.
That was a beautiful mid-fight from Plutu's Forest. Just had the 2 soldiers behind in different directions as they're starting to push up, and there was nowhere to go. Forward is a devil man, backwards, left side is a soldier, backwards the other way, also a soldier, just completely pincered them, picked them apart from there. And now it's looking grim for Lit. They're sitting back on the last point, trying to fight for some control at Lobby, but they don't have an Uber. How scary can this be? Well, Lobby tries anyway, but it's a quick trade there. For a devil man, that might sound nice, but it's not losing any faster. It's not a win condition anymore.
In my opinion, I think it is a good trade, but it just depends what they do on this last point now with their soldiers, and so far they're just a bit disjointed here. The soldiers are doing the damage, but the scouts were not in a position to follow up. They were just getting flanked, and the attention was just brought away from the point there. So I think that the decision to get that demo kill from Snowy, the commit was good, but again on this last, just syncing up those soldiers that are ready to block with your scouts can be a little bit tricky here, especially with those flank players coming in. And as well, the point pressure from the side of Plutu's Forest has so far been really effective. They know when to get their cap time, and we see Boomer going fast, like a shadow burn sort of rollout, as Adam once again getting destroyed by the soldiers on mid, and Areleli's alive to commit even further. This time he's just doing a bit of spam, prodding around, see what he can do, and from the front, just the aggression into the choke point of Plutu's Forest has been enough to get them even more value, and we're just left with the projectile classes left on mid, just throwing projectiles, but albeit indirectly at the medic. There's only so much you could do. In the end, the pipe's just not connecting, and no scouts on that late mid fight means no win, unfortunately, for the side of Plutu's Forest. But
not due to lack of trying.
Yeah.
I mean, Aaron just denied them really quickly there with some nice pipes. Stopped the scouts from even getting close, which is 100 damage each in no time at all here. But 2 minutes left. I think the Copium has run dry from everyone already.
Yeah.
They might be getting round on the board here for the just morale right now, but 4-2 at less than 2 minutes left is not going to make for a win anymore. Here comes the last push attempt to get in here. Demo in the Skybooks against Sentry Guard. Neither of them will go down for now, but they should catch Snowy off the beam here eventually. And the medic gets peppered down as well. One last rocket actually connecting. And that's it.
Yeah, no Sentry. The Sentry Gun didn't even go down in that last push. There was a... yeah, that last push was not ideal there. It was almost certainly going to fail just after Uber ended. They just didn't have position, but the back cap could save them here. No, it does get stopped. The roaming soldier managing to thwart that one, but that would have been a pretty good momentum.
That is just like the summary of the game, right? They got so close so many times, and it's just still not enough. And at the end of the day, Plutu's Forest just has good watchable lights on most things. Maybe not right now, but it also doesn't matter anymore. They're trying to play for the logs, I think. I mean, they're doing kind of the opposite of that right now, and them just getting farmed for numbers, but I mean, hey, they won, they deserve a little bit of feeding time.
Yeah, Yuga's just kind of left on his own here to deal with these... the entirety of the TeToSe players coming in here, eventually cleaning them up. But at this point, it is just playing for logs, you know, the scout just wanting the beam to take the Uber straight in and just to get tanked, just to see what he can get, see if he can get any more frags and kills here. Really messy DM fight. Plutu's Forest though coming out with a victory there. Fairly surprising, I'd say. A few taunts being exchanged on the point. GG's being exchanged. A little bit of... you know, a little bit of competitive spirit in the chat, I see, being exchanged as well. So the momentum definitely on the side of Plutu's Forest, even though TeToSe are the undefeated team. As if we see the last couple frags being exchanged here. Other than that, this map is over.
Yeah, this match, hard to forget about this again. 6th seed on Plutu's Forest, 1st seed on Lit, undefeated going to playoffs, dropped 1 point against these guys before, but that did little than just make their seeding worse. It didn't stop them from getting to playoffs. It certainly didn't stop them getting all the way to Grand Finals for a rematch. And the undefeated streak is now officially over. They can still do this, but now they gotta bounce back big time from this, right? Especially in Open, I guess. Having like bad maps, I feel like is a lot more of a thing than in other divisions. Not to say that it's not a fact in other divisions, of course, but I feel like if an Open team just has practiced one map a slight bit more than the others, it will show immediately. For Plutu's Forest's sake, you have to hope that's not the case. And for Lit's sake, you just gotta figure that maybe Snake's not always crack after B, maybe it will get better on the next 2. And it just looks like business as usual, like I think a lot of people would expect them to be able to perform.
Yeah, and the next map will be Sunshine. So another map that is, you know, I'd say on the in terms of actual play, more on the slower side. Though you do have a few more flank opportunities to work with. You've got an extra flank there to really abuse, and Snakewater can be a bit tricky with managing both sides of the map. Whereas on Sunshine, you've just got a lot more to work with just by design, and just looking at the stats here, I do see the soldiers from the side of Plutu's Forest going rather huge here. That is, I didn't feel, well, I wouldn't have expected the numbers to be that that great for them just watching, but I thought they had good impact overall, but I didn't know they were, pounding this much.
Yeah, sometimes sort of feels like a little thankless job to open up things for everyone else, but if you do this much damage while you're going down, then the rest of the team just has easy pickings from there. And I mean, the mid fights especially, I think, was really nice between Boomer and Apatia. Not to say the other stuff wasn't. There was the nice little double bomb, obviously, at one point as well on last, to not go unnoticed. So yeah, I mean, they got these numbers for a good reason. They managed to open things up for everyone really, really nicely. And yeah, it's just sometimes it's all you need, right? And I don't think Sunshine's going to be much worse for soldiers in that regard. So interested to see if the opponents can just combat this a little bit more now.
And looking at the medic stats here, we have Adam. Adam only getting a respectable only 7 deaths there. So good survivability. That he had both soldiers on him pretty much the whole entire map. So it's really commendable that he was able to survive as much as he did. If this was perhaps a lower level game or even like a TF2 center lobby, you would expect like 15 deaths with the amount of soldiers that were actively trying to take him out of the fight during this game on Snakewater. But he stood his ground, and the heal order was looking good for him. And in terms of drops, I mean, he didn't actually concede any Ubers. He used them at the right times, it seems, as on the other side, Zuri dropping twice, and as a result having 2 less Ubers. However, I wouldn't say that Ubers decided entirely the outcome of the game, but just looking at the stats here, there is something to be said about the difference in medic play. I'd say Adam had a little bit of a better game here.
Yeah, and I mean, hey, at the end of the day, right? Sure, sheer number of Ubers won't make the difference, but your bet and the people around him keeping him alive as well, of course. Giving you more chances certainly will speak wonders by the end of it. And the second they got like a good position last, right? They just converted immediately, and the red team just struggling to get any going in return. Really do them any favors, and that's gonna be so disheartening as well. They won the mid fights more than they did as well. There were a couple of close ones in there, but they won the vast majority, and still they just couldn't do much with any of them in the end. That's gonna hurt quite a bit, but you gotta figure out why is that the case? How do we active this quickly now? How does Sunshine mid specifically maybe change things up a little bit? The flanking plays were pretty good, I want to say, on the blue team on the mid fights as well. I feel like you can do a little bit more of that even on this mid fight than the other ones. And you can, however, also just rotate your entire combo, something you don't really have the luxury for on a map like Snakewater. So maybe there is some of that just to switch things up and see if these decent mid fights actually can just be straight up conversions into last.
Yeah, exactly. Just as you mentioned, more flanks to choose from, and the ability. It's a very open, a very large mid, and you have that privilege of being able to take the opposing team's side if you want to, or if you wanted to be really sneaky, you could even opt to just rotate between chokes, just play defensive and, eventually force the enemy into a bad position and capitalize on it, or just play the spam. There's just so much you can really do on the Sunshine mids. I would say they're probably a lot more interesting to watch than a Snakewater mid. That's just my opinion, simply because, again, as I did mention, you have Cafe and Valley for the soldiers to play off, and you've also, again, got that opportunity to be a bit more flexible with your team, where you put your resources, where you decide to, if you have a player that's strong on the flank, you can put him in a position where he could potentially sandwich a team and really open things up for you. I remember that a certain old school player called Starkey, when he played for Nerd Rage ages ago, he would actually be really valued on the roaming soldier role, just because on the mids he had such a good eye for when to go in and what positions to play and how to really open things up and for the rest of his team. And that actually ended up for them being a good decision, because back in the day, when they were up against Froyotech at I-55 LAN. That was very successful, ended up winning that map, so I'd say the soldiers have really got a lot of potential here.
Yeah, with the previous map in mind, it's going to be scary times for Lit to watch out for those, but I'm sure a team that has done so well this season won't just fold over that easily.
Yeah.
We'll make a bit of a fight on this one here. Once again, reminder, this is ETF2L Open Grand Finals. This is, in fact, the, I guess the new player division, you want to call it, right? The lowest in the rung of divisions we have in Europe, of the few we have. This is, however, also the Grand Finals, so it's the best of the worst, if you want to put it that way. The best of the newest, I suppose, is probably a nicer way to put it.
Yeah.
Certainly a lot of places with a little less experience than you'll see later down the week on TFTV here. We'll have Premiership coming up on Thursday for anyone curious. More information on TFTV, of course, as per usual. We're just waiting for the players to already up here, taking a quick break. It was an exhausting game to just play for both sides to, stay focused, somehow figure out ways things work out and not just get too frustrated the entire way. You want to take a quick break before you finally go into a map 2. It is all in the hands of Plutu's Forest. The underdog, 6th seed into playoffs, made it all the way to Grand Finals and also won map 1 over previously undefeated first seed Lit. Waiting for them here in Grands, but they have it in their hands now. They can do this, or are Lit gonna return to full form now and just make this easy pickings?
Yeah, looks like already a soldier bomb coming through, but gets absolutely destroyed, piped down by the DuMmTm, and Lit2C, a soldier manages to sneak into Valley side to get behind there. 2 soldiers from the side of Plutu's Forest. It just seemed like both teams wanted to mirror each other this time, and the positioning for Plutu's Forest not being the best for them here. They just get separated in the choke without any soldiers to boot, and
no, the Met is alone after all of that. They played this so well, but this one single bomb just sneaks through into that doorway and just blows up both the scout and the double man. And they're just left with nothing on the medic. Such a good mid fight, but such just a better bomb at the end to take them out. Huge pick. Zuri will sit here with good advantage on her hands, and that's gonna just be looking pretty good as well. They actually defend the midpoint too. It's just getting better and better for the red team.
Yeah, it was a good decision there to leave choke by Plutu's Forest, but they just get caught in cafe, and it's just unfortunate there. But now they have a hiding soldier, and he hasn't been spotted on the flank here as Boomer is looking towards choke. He's going to bomb now, commit onto Valley side. He's not going to find too much there. Perhaps the call didn't quite come through, that the medic wasn't in his line of sight. He doesn't really find anything with that bomb, and now with the soldier down and the Uber advantage, Lit2C have a great opportunity here to go straight into last and get some juicy picks here as they bomb straight in onto the heavy, who's going to get caught trying to rotate back into spawn. Yeah, surely he's going to be taken down. The cap time already coming through, but there's still frags to be had on the point that haven't been cleaned up, and although the heavy got caught out, it just seemed that they weren't able to get much more than that, and you really need to be collecting more frags on this map. I mean, the point presence wasn't enough if you just have 5 players staring at you. Doesn't matter how far back they are, because the door and the point, there's not much distance to really travel from one point to the other in that regard, and the soldiers and the scouts, they're not going to have any trouble really recommitting from those doors. And we're now seeing a situation on mid where Lit2C have to defend. They've opted to go for a sniper, but we've seen Plutu's Forest deal with a sniper threat rather well. They just bombed straight in. They did get forced this time. They're looking just to get the cap down, which is, again, we've seen a more reserved kind of playstyle from them when it is 0-0, but they do manage to get the sniper pick, the late sniper pick here, late death, so they definitely have something to work with here coming into second.
Alright, it's already a good opening with the kills they have. The Aaron, the only one really still in. Matt Eves a random projectile, so he needs to be so careful to not just walk in and die, and it looks like finally they got the memo here. They can't just keep committing in. They've gotta have to give this one up, and that's just getting so frustrating. They got an early force. It was actually made easier. Cyrus did himself no favors on that one. Sticky air shot the opponent's soldiers further into the medic than they would have gotten otherwise. Made the force easier by technicality, but as it turns out, that force still covers so much ground in the end of the kills they've gotten, and now you are ones on last. You're the ones forced to push out of here with the Uber in hand as well. You don't want to use, but sometimes you don't get a choice. Boomer in there cleanly for the force. Goes to last as well. Not really a chance on the backup, but if he just gets the one kill, it would be huge. Soha in a 2v1 will barely survive that. Looks like they'll have to give up seconds, but the over-under, right? They got forced a second ago. Now they just straight back in here with their own Uber as well. They just have already again. And a little bit hesitant on actually using that, but they're catching a couple of kills, and this can just be converted so easily into last if they're just quick enough on it. Soldier deals some good damage in lobby. The scout is there to clean that up. What's left standing? Absolutely nothing near this point. The only problem being, they were so focused on killing people. Who capped second in the meantime?
Well, there is currently no one here to cap second, as they have a scout on the respawn, a soldier on the flank as well. He's just rolling out, so they have 0 cap time to work with so far. But they're locking down the spawns really well. But how long can they really do this for? They've eventually, TeToSe have made a bust out, and what would have been potentially a round conversion just ended up slipping out of Plutu's Forest hands, perhaps getting a bit too over-eager, losing that scout, not knowing that they had lost their flank scout, and not recognizing that soon enough meant that, you know, it has taken them a lot longer than expected to get this cap, and they have an Uber advantage, but you know, they've spent so much time trying to get that capture now that they've only just taken lobby, and there's still players on TeToSe that are playing aggressive and dealing so much spam that they've essentially slowed this and dwindled this advantage out completely dry. But I don't know if they know Plutu's Forest. They could just go for an exchange in the end and they jump out straight away. This is a car crash, and Adam, look, he's a million miles ahead of his team. He already knows he has to leave, and he's just linking up with his scout now. But yeah, that wasn't really the best idea in hindsight.
Yeah, I'm surprised they did fall back all the way to second when they were spawn capping that 2 kills. I guess it's just the thing, right, where you just don't really know the spawn camps too much. They thought probably the spawns would be up sooner. Let this come down to this fight in the end. That's probably not worth it whatsoever, but you gotta deal with the consequences now. If another bump on the medic comes through, that would be huge. There is a lot of damage, but it's just not enough. Katia can't even survive in the end. Soha cuts off the exit really early on that one. That's gonna be mid pretty nice and easy to the hands of Lit in the end here. Not much of teamfight needed here, but it's not over yet. This is Spy waiting to seek spot everyone, but they see it in time. Someone bumped into Snobby realizes on the point that there should not be a wall behind me right there. That is in fact the Spy. They catch it really early. Awkward spam that. The Merman is hitting so much damage, just take everyone out before they even get close to the medic. 2 kills out of nowhere, and they're committing a third one in as well, just for good measure, but it is a whole free damage onto Adam. And that's not going to make any medic use.
Yeah, Adam, excellent positioning there. Playing close to the dungeon is a really strong position for the medic, as he can just, you know, it's kind of like now you see him, now you don't. He can just disappear into that sort of underground area, away from line of sight, and didn't even have to go there in the end. He was just really good dodging and really good awareness there, chucking those soldiers perfectly. And they've already got a nice pick, nice entry into mid. The soldier tries to salvage on the side of TeToSe, but he's not going to find anything on his own. And full Uber going the way of Plutu's Forest. They do have a roaming soldier down, but with the DuMmTm only just spawning for last here on TeToSe, it's going to be a really good opportunity for them. Oh no, but they get forced. Just one soldier manages to sneak his way through. They still have 1 pick to work with on last, but without the Uber charge, it's looking pretty difficult here.
Alright, well, Uber has been depleted. Zori is still nowhere close, so there's still a chance you just play in off the picks you have. Rally pretty weak already, would be a nice one to play off. Spite on the flank, Scout with the soldier. Soldier all alone though. Scout gets them back for the DuMmTm. That's going to be enough to force them back once more, but quick rotation back. You just walks over Saw right away. They keep playing it up, but Zuri has by now. They must anticipate this to be the case sooner or later. Venom caught off guard a little bit there as well. One more bomb just skips over the first soldier and walks over the Scout. But it's still not enough, despite the beautiful skip jump that was, to get anything going on a medic.
They had the space there on the left-hand side, and Venom was in, but he just had no support, no soldier with him there to take further ground. And what would have looked like a really promising take there of a side, and a really good opportunity to get a force out of the side of TeToSe, it just ended up being, you know, a little more of a little... What I'd say a little bit of a softer attempt there, just losing 1 player in the end, and we're now going to reset here. But I really liked that in the end, but they have more chances to get this right here, as this time they're looking to try and punish the DuMmTm who goes aggressive, and with that distraction, everyone just glued up together and not watching the lower door. The soldier just bombs through, and that was enough to get the force there. So they have another shot at pushing last with uber advantage on the side of Plutu's Forest.
Such fortunate timing as well. Just as well, he picks up the gun and just nothing stops you anymore besides the heavy that's sitting next to the medic. Can't look around the corner here. Boomer with an early bomb into lobby. Gets some good damage on the demo, and advance fully buffed, but pipes himself to death. That's one huge kill to get out of nowhere, and they're keeping up the push from the right side here. What can anyone do about this one? A bit of spam, so gonna make them use of it easily, but it does take down one player already, and Pat here down on the flank as well. Looking a little bit awkward here, but they haven't used until so late into this push, and despite just fumbling the actual DM department there a little bit, they just have the silver lining of the Uber just to rely on and clutch this one out. 1-0 lead. Long round once again, but that wasn't much different last map, and we all know how that ended.
Yeah, no demo man on last, no sticks, just get straight onto that point, and with the Uber charge in hand, it's pretty much GG from there on. And we're going into this next mid. Last mid we did see both teams kind of meet each other, with both soldiers just trying to make the most out of what they could. We're seeing a bit of the same sort of mid here, but the demo man just gets completely isolated on the side of TeToSe in the choke, and Aaron is so weak, caught in enemy lines, behind enemy lines, but he actually gets Venom with the pipes in the end. So a little bit awkward, this mid fight going so far, but TeToSe now, they've glued up together nicely, and they have this player advantage to work with. And yeah, with these two picks that they have, they just are able to force them out with just some smart jumps and the spam to force them out in the end. But Plutu's Forest still wanting to stay in with this.
So they don't have a choice. They're on enemy territory. They have to go in here at some point. Trade soldiers one by one, a little bit awkwardly pop in. Eventually, it's just a chase to their own second point. Everyone's just running away from them, but they're doing good damage while they're doing it. Aaron cleaning up these kills, but there's no one left on the combo anymore. He's got to do this all on himself, and he's hitting some nice shots. Nothing left from Adam anymore. One scout not good enough to get away from them in time. They're just chasing this down all the way into lobby. And it's going to be frustrating for Plutu's Forest, stuck behind enemy lines the entire way back to spawn. And by the time we're getting there, there's no one left alive anymore. This was just merciless execution from start to finish. The second they realized they could make a run for it, they just went for point to point and forced their hands.
I believe that's the second time they've been caught in that position, right? That happened exactly the same thing almost in the first mid, where they ended up on the opposite side, and I didn't even notice at first. I was too busy focused on what was actually happening on the midpoint. But here we go into the next mid. Let's see if the same actually happens, or are they going to mix things up here? Soldier counter bombing here on the side of Plutu's Forest, but again they're playing towards this cafe side. The enemy cafe, they seem to have gained a bit more control here, managed to shrug off a few of the players that are aggressing onto them. So this time the bunker strategy has worked out for them, but they didn't really bring anything new to the table in terms of the mid fight. It just seemed that TeToSe they had a bit of a blunder there. They didn't quite manage to have the same success as they did as the previous mid. They didn't get those early kills, and
I mean, it's very notably also just I think it was Boomer, just like first bomb attempt immediately at start of mid, gets the medic right away. You want a bunker after that, right? You kind of have to, really, to make sure your match survives. It's the smart thing to do, I would imagine, in most situations. And they got away for this time here. Just sometimes you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Just do the same thing you did, but better. Bombs coming through onto second, seeing if they can sneak something away there. For now, everyone's playing it nice and safe. Snakewater's still lurking, though. Could be very watchful for that. Looks like Adam's just staying behind the tower as much as possible. And there we go. The second boomer bombs in, clears the way. The medic's finally starting to approach a little bit as well. That is wasting a lot of time here. Zuri almost has. We've seen how awkward these small ads can be, but they're testing the luck, and an early pick early would be huge for them.
And the demo pick as well is just going to open up everything. 2 scouts on the point, ×4 on the capture. It gets about 3/4 there. Uber eventually coming out from TeToSe, but 2 scouts, only hit scan. It's not going to be enough. No projectile to support them, and it doesn't really matter who you have on scout there. That is an unwinnable situation, a 5 versus 3 to end that last push off, giving Plutu's Forest the round and a round up as a result. And again, if Boomer has the same success on mid, they can just keep bunkering up. That could be a potential option for them. However, will they get a bit too complacent with this, or is this something that they're only doing based on the situation they are in. It seems that they're going towards this kind of position again, but we have a soldier wise to it. Not one nice rocket, but he commits. Really aggressive here, but it's paying off. Aralele bombing straight forward onto the scout now. Huge mid from him so far. Just brilliant damage overall, and the soldier with the late follow-up is going to claim a frag of his own as well, taking the health pack in Cafe, just cleaning up everyone else. And I'm not sure about this DuMmTm. I think Plutu's Forest maybe are playing this position a bit too hard.
Maybe so. It's still not too late to fix these things, but you really don't want to have to start thinking about changing in mid-fights when it's back to a tight game, right? And they didn't do themselves any favors in this situation now. Back to square one. They have nothing against Lit, just fully ready to go into last. Uber in hand. There's a desperate gun being put up. That thing covers like half a point at most. They can deal with that pretty quickly. Boomer forward with the Pyro. You see this on Sunbad. Sunshine not being one of them. You can't get back to spawn all that easily here. Certainly, Boomer will not give him that courtesy. A lot of Captain already. Patia has to come in early once again, block this point, but this time around won't get a single kill. Huge damage all around. No. Everyone's so weak against one heavy. Oh, and that's just not enough.
Yeah.
Clean up there for the red team in the end. And there we go. I think what really hurt them the first time around they had last push was just that the soldier that was on the front wall instead of at the spawn side of things just like got in uncontested completely for free and melted them all. And the Patia still did a lot this time around, but they caught up to it a lot sooner this time around. Didn't let him get away all too long. And there we go. Had just numbers set for the rest of this one.
Yeah, I would like to see perhaps TeToSe take the Ubers more into them on last though, be a bit more aggressive, like go for more frags, because that one was really close in the end. And the next mid is the same kind of positioning we've seen from the side of Plutu's Forest. They do get bombed, but Soldier and Demoman going down, the flank from Boomer coming in clutch, and the second Soldier follows in quite late, but nevertheless he does get a pick for his troubles. And the recommit, both scouts, Litfam just destroyed Venom in Cafe, and really with one scout down they're just deciding to fall back on the side of Plutu's Forest, not even gonna try and challenge this midpoint here. I guess they do realize that the soldier is was just rolling out, and they would be at a disadvantage potentially if that player gets unchecked during perhaps a refight here. So they're just playing it safe for now. Again, we see this team, when it's all tied up, they do play a little bit more on the reserve side, which is, I'd say it's a smart decision to go for here. But now we're faced in a situation where they have to defend, and the soldier bomb's coming through. Adam's positioning, though, is just so good. Again, he's on the high ground. He's ready to drop down into that dungeon area if he needs to. There is a pack there, and there's protection to
Big Rockets Boomer on the flank as well. Get some good damage going. They really want to play off. This is what everyone's so far forward, but they have another play going. In the meantime, here, Patia wrapping all the way around while everyone's forward and Flower taking a fight. He was already out very early there. Adam doesn't save the scout next to him, has neither nothing in the air. Is so weak afterwards as well, and Soldier behind just gonna awkwardly wait out Diva, but has time to do that, get some big damage going, but they all crash onto red team falling back into the loving arms. This looked like such good positions to play off from the blue team, sorry, but they just couldn't use any of it in the end.
Yeah, and this just goes to show like how important it is to not drop your pocket scout there. I mean, this is open division, and what we're seeing is, you know, really good plays being executed here, but like as well, there's just these minor details these just minor things that you wouldn't probably think would end up being in a straight up loss, but dropping your pocket scout in a situation like that is just so tragic, and I don't think they realized until it was too late how bad of a situation it was, just being split without a scout on the beam. And they paid for it in the end, and now they're on last, which for another, well, for a maximum of 4.5 minutes, so depending on what they make of this, a soldier going down as well. This is really prime time for TeToSe to make something happen here as they make their way into lobby. What can they do? What doors can they abuse? Can they create any space perhaps with only one soldier holding this entire flank by himself?
There we go. So, oh no, Beef's a little fancy jump there through the right side, the door, just gets stuck on the door frame. A million of frames for Cyrus to press mouse 2 at some point. That goes sticky traps, get that kill. Keeps things nice and even for now. It's gonna be something we should look forward to at least. The question is how this works out this time, right? We are no strangers in this matchup to the timeout strategy, of course. That is something Plutu's Forest will do if they're forced to. But I think Lit has just a little bit more energy from compared to last map, and slightly more generous last point, I guess, even if not by much, maybe with the gun just straight in front of you in some situations like we see right here. So the force won't come easy, but I don't know, they're already looking a little more keen with the bombs in deep that they really didn't get too many chances to last time.
Oh, the pyro and the sentry gun. Taking some notes from, you know, a Witness Gaming iteration of teams where Pappy likes to run the pyro and the sentry gun in a forward position to really pin anyone who peeks this choke point where Cyrus is currently holding up against the wall, so they're just unable to get through essentially, and this force is looking really difficult to get here. A really big task at hand, and they just go for the straight up exchange, but again, as I mentioned, did they even have to use in the end? I'm not even sure. However, they do get the Ubers out of the equation on the side to TeToSe, but they're just losing so many players in lobby. Really, really questionable there. Just Plutu's Forest are just able to aggress on. I guess they just committed too hard.
I want the rally, a Sled player trying to sneak into the backline as well. The Soldier doesn't end up committing. Sora is still there, but other than a bunch of stickies, he doesn't fight anything at all. Will just go down. A couple of pipes won't change that either, as much as Aaron will try. Clear this thing out nicely, but there's still one surprise factor left. We have the spy on the field. Goes to the decloak. No, tries to sneak automatic. No one's looking back. That barely turns enough. The back hitbox in this game is so generous, and somehow that was not what they were looking for. Very surprised by that, but I guess Plutu Forest is very happy about it as well on there, and that's just one pick to go for on top of slim of an advantage. They've been using less in Blast before, so you do what you can. Somehow don't get the Soldier there either. That's good news for the red team. They need everything they can get to not lose any more ground. Scout should just about spawn and will be a forward spawner too, so they have everyone back on this point, and with this little advantage, if Plutu Forest makes themselves think this is a huge ad, they might be in a rude awakening. They're actually already in for one.
Oh, but you going down. So yeah, surely they're not going to decide to go down. They're not going to make the same mistake of, you know, committing all the way, even after dropping a scout. But look at this pressure. Again, the third flank coming through really, really nicely there from the side of TeToSe, but the force doesn't come out until really late. We've seen how how great Plutu's Forest are in using their Ubers, but
oh no, just a scout walking over them again.
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
so tough.
Although they had a better Uber this time, they didn't have the chariot. You know, they didn't have the two scouts just torpedoing straight into like no distance to cover whatsoever. This time they had so much ground to cover, and it was really a question of, you know, do we commit and just full send this and just completely leave the flank unwatched, or do we just, you know, give them the point and save a rebuff advantage for later? And I guess the latter was the correct decision in the end, but it doesn't necessarily mean that this is all over. They still hold on to the point, all things considered. A bit of a scrappy fight ensues now as the Soldiers bombing through. Uber being popped, DuMmTm not getting flashed, just bombing through. But they're not able to find anything because Plutu's Forest are just all the way back. They didn't even try to even send, you know, players to spam or to pressure. They just were instantly out there as soon as the Uber was popped. So a good foresight there to not lose anyone too badly. They do lose a Soldier in the end. He does get caught out. A bit unfortunate there, but they're playing it fairly well here. You know, I'm using one Soldier. I know Uber disadvantage is not too bad. They now have about 40% advantage to work with here, and TeToSe now set up with the defense on mid. They've only got stickies on Cafe so far, so Choke and Valley are positions that Plutu's Forest can exploit if they are given the option to, but they're going Cafe, and this is riddled with sticky traps, so they're going to have a hard time, I think, pushing out, and Yuke just gets destroyed. There we go. So Cafe not working out for them. They do get a return frag onto Araleli, who...
But at this point, the Uber advantage is gone already. This took so long waiting for Boomer to spawn to begin with, but now it's just all gone to the wayside already. It's not a whole lot of time left to be played. One round might just be the end of the game if you're not careful, so you really gotta see how much of a risk you're willing to take at any step of the game at this point. It's a dangerous game to play, but you've come this far. You don't want to just throw it away all in 1 second. We'll see who's gonna make the first move. Looks like we found our contestant Soha in with the bomb on second, but if anything has been going well, it's denying bombs into second for Plutu's Forest.
Yeah, and I think also it's just very difficult, you know, sacking a single soldier. Every time they've done it so far on the side of TeToSe, it hasn't worked out for them. But this sack does invite Plutu's Forest to pressure, and we've seen TeToSe capitalize on Plutu's Forest. They're not as strong, I'd say, on the offense as they are on the defending side of things. So perhaps that was inviting them to maybe, you know, involuntarily just open up perhaps a hole for them to abuse there for the side of TeToSe, and they're just getting demolished here. And Valley is, the rotations just are so good here, but in return they've actually forfeited a lot of position in terms of Cafe. Cafe's completely open, but it was a good thing that no one was there in the end, because with the 2 picks that they do have, Plutu's Forest managed to really draw the players of TeToSe out of the fight. But they really want to bank on this Uber charge though in this even situation. They send so many players forward. Blue have such a better Uber here, and they can catch them in Cafe. They get 1 pick. 2 scouts on the beam are going to chase, and this is disastrous. But the soldiers in the end, coming in a bit clutch there to kill both scouts. Maybe it wasn't a good idea to put both of your hit scan classes into that one tiny choke, and there we have it. A bit of a scrappy fight ensuing, and Cyrus, the only survivor with his medic, he just wants to escape, keep him alive. Aralele went for an attempt there. Worthy attempt, but he got nowhere near in the end.
Yeah, generally shot into the ground, couldn't get any deeper than that. That is just scary until the very end there. There was a moment where I saw the Red Scout just spawn up again, roll up to the choke point, ready to kill everyone, but Soldier didn't even get him really, but just slowed it down enough that someone else could do the finishing touches there. Will just about keep them alive here, but this comes at a steep price, right? This was looking so nice for mid at some point, but now it's back to second. Bombs coming in already. They want this match to go down. They need the advantage back to keep this round alive, but they're getting a little bit ahead of themselves here. Scout with just the least subtle attempt I've seen in a hot second there. Volatility down very early in all this, and suddenly it's looking very dire. This is just the repeat of what we've seen before. 2 down on the red squad. Push it to mid. Seems all but imminent here. Zori getting bombed already. Doesn't have Uber just yet, and the rockets will connect. Give up a soldier forward, but if they keep everyone else alive from here, this should be easy pickings. Who's going to stop them right now? They see where most of them are. They're really still trying to get through anyway, but gets body blocked by the demo man. Cannot proceed any further. Back to go, and there we go. Even Aaron at the end falling. That's sticky trapped out of the equation as well. That just makes everything so much safer, and no surprise factor on the sniper rifle anymore. They know it's there. That should not claim any victims. That's sad. A lot of things have happened that shouldn't have, so I would say things too early. Never looks like they spawned back. Not gonna be happening just now, and this has to be it. This could be game if they know what's good for them here. It has to be if you want to avoid dreadful overtime.
And as they make their way into lobby now, they're just deciding on where to go, and it's going to be, you know, a classic top right Uber. Dropping the scout again though, do they commit to this? It seems both soldiers are already in on this flank. They just get in for free almost, and they actually have the position to win this fight just because the soldiers on the side of Plutu's Forest just being able to get in. The flank on the side of TeToSe being really, really weak there, really, really poor from them, but they managed to hold on in the end. This is you getting dropped the second time this map, and although this time it didn't really matter as much, because I think TeToSe's hold wasn't as strong as it could have been. Just letting that flank get in for free was looking really scary for them now, but all things considered, they have an advantage to work with here, and if they want to...
Spy alert! Spy... I don't know when they found him already.
Oh,
I was gonna be... I wanted to hype up the spy play, and then it's just decloaking in front of a closed shutter door that someone walks out of immediately, and suddenly this is full ad with a pick as well. I mean, this is just gonna be an open invitation to go deep in fact, and getting one behind for the camp, and then is trying to go deep on the combo, picking a pad here in early up as well, but that guy did so much damage. Surprisingly, just still stayed luck for so long that this is a force somehow. Yeah. Now it's becoming awkward, right? They're getting one. Somehow Boomer's left alive for a little bit too long, but immediately traded this one out. There's 3 down, and they're trying to push up right now. This is getting real desperate on this match.
Oh yeah, Leno just not committing with their team there. It was really unfortunate. You know, all the fragging classes were in, but the medic did not follow suit, and they only had so much Uber to work with, and now it's just a matter of, you know, fighting without heals, but with the numbers advantage, and they do just let their medic die in the end on the side of Plutu's Forest. Adam getting a bit too overwhelmed there. They just wanted him dead, and they will take the midpoint. You know, they will take what they can get without that. They're quite happy with their medic dying, just so they can secure this mid, and they have quite a short window here to, if they want to not bring this to a golden cap, but it's looking very likely here as the Ubers will probably be in play for the last 20 seconds of this map. It's not really looking like they'll have much impact, really.
I don't even disadvantage out of all this. I don't know if they're so happy with letting them die after all. It's really good mid, but now what? Not losing seems pretty easy at this point to do for Plutu's Forest, but I guess Lit on second needs to be the ones actually worried about that right now. They're just sitting here with much less map position, but I guess with D-Word hand as well, this is probably... I can't imagine this being anything but like a very last second attempt to get anything going, and no team wants to risk not even getting to overtime right now.
Yeah, it seems to be the case, as both teams are just assuming it's equal Ubers here, and it seems that Plutu's Forest want to try something that looks like they're going for like a last-ditch chariot just to get their numbers up, but they just dropped 2 scouts, let alone just dropping Yug there. Venom actually getting, you know, being a victim of the sticky trap this time as well, and that is going to spell the end for this, well, I'd say this map, but we've got a golden cap to go through, with the scores being tied up, and we've still got an extra bit of extra time here to work with.
Yeah, as it is no win after 30 minutes means you'll get at most up to 15, and definitely only 1 round this time to decide it between the 2 of them here to see what they can perform. It's going to be an interesting one for sure. These mid-fights have been pretty good, and I mean, if we see another like completely botched like attempt enemy side rotation mid from one side over the other, that might just be curtains right there, right? They can't, I think the Forest are not losing out of this one. They gotta make sure that that doesn't happen again. If they lose an enemy side mid, they gotta go down swinging, because otherwise you'll just find yourself on your last no matter what, I think, every single time.
Yeah, the mids from both teams, they not looking as comfortable on the Sunshine mid, to be honest.
I can see that, yeah.
We did see TeToSe that they did lose, you know, they did come out on top on the mid fights, but
all but one, yeah.
You know, there was just key situations where I think they were just getting forced. You know, they were just their sack attempts from mid to second were really not working. You see, they're hell bent on just sending that soldier in, and he would close the distance, like nice jumps to get through onto Adam, but there was just no way on his own he was able to get that force, and they made the mistake of actually, you know, doing the same thing not once, not twice, but 3 times. But they tried to change it up with a scout also coming into the mixture, but he was just unable to get much done either. They just weren't working together as a flank, and in terms of creating openings on Sunshine, you really need to have, you know, a flank that's really popping off, and it is a really tough task for these teams in particular, being, you know, of a lesser level than to the ones that we're used to seeing in the TFTV side of things of coverage. And I'll say though, it was an enjoyable map to watch, and
yeah, no doubt.
We still got, you know, the golden cap. We still don't know who's actually won this map. It's definitely looking a lot better, a lot more exciting than
yeah, we might yet get to Granary. There might still be a map in front of us here. That is for these teams to decide right now. Plutu's Forest obviously in the upper hand still, despite not clutching out anything of this sort before overtime. Can still just win this map and round out this match early. It was a really close one for sure. If you've just joined, if you've missed some of the action here, it has been open grand finals of season 42. The new squads of Wiethoofd trying to fight out between each other to become the best newbies around, move up the divisions in the future. It's a brawl here already, a fairly competent map, one by Plutu's Forest, slow start maybe, but confident finish here, but most importantly, a really, really close map too now that is yet to find a victor, but there can only be one, and we'll see on this next mid-fight.
Yeah, and here we go, we're heading straight into mid here, players rolling out, Aaron already starting off strong with his rollout into Valley, and he's going to be arriving just pretty much at the same time. Both demo men about equal in terms of speed there, but Aaron eating a bit of early damage, and we see Plutu's Forest, they like playing towards the enemy team's cafe side, but they're not watching for Araleli, and that is a massive pick to start things off. He's still alive, he gets one more. 4 kills on mid from Araleli. Oh no, this happened to them again. This didn't even happen to them on the... This is not something that we've not seen before. We saw this before in the normal map time before the golden cap, with Araleli pressuring from cafe, managing to get a lot of value, but we didn't see him get as much as he did just then. That was pretty incredible, but
yeah,
they're just not adapting to it.
Yeah, insane damage from the sword all the way to last. This has to be it. They gotta close this out and make this team map free. Bomb comes in early, doesn't do a whole lot of damage right away. Heavy gets all the way to point. That's scary times over there, but they clean up pretty quick. Lots of damage coming out from the blue team, cleaning up the numbers, but there's still 3 life on red, just chuckling away at anything left on point. And there we go. One swing of the bottle. Aaron takes down the medic and wins this map. They're clawing this one through a game 3. They want to go all the way.
Yeah, a little bit messy on that last push, but I like it, you know. They took it straight into Plutu's Forest and they just went for frags, you know. They just went
that's
for...
where the adrenaline is running. You just, you know you can, you know you want to end this right here, right now. Yeah. You just go in, ask questions later, and at some point during all of this, you just slowed it down enough, focused down the heavy, and got everything underway the way they needed to.
Yeah, they just realized that obviously when they were doing their pushes before, they weren't necessarily going for the frags. They weren't making it into a brawl. They were trying to focus the point a bit too much, I'd say. They weren't going as deep as I thought they could do with their Ubers. But this time they just went straight in for it, and that was enough to close it out, and really well played there to secure this map. And we are going to be heading into Granary indeed here. I mean, not much to say about the stats from that one, apart from Araleli's probably going to be...
golden cap, yeah. Regular time might be a little bit more interesting, I suppose, but in the end of the day, we see a lot of what we've seen before. I guess, more notably, a lot more focus on the demo men here for both teams, I guess. It's not completely unwarranted in some capacity here, both demo men performing really well for their own part, but once again as well, once these soldiers got going, they were able to just... a lot less than last map. I'm vaguely surprised by this. I don't think this is much better or worse than Snakewater in most regards for soldiers, but the scouts really just stole the show from them.
Yeah, and Cyrus actually having a much better game on Sunshine, getting, you know, at least from a stats perspective, it's always nice to see, you know, it's always nice to know that after finishing a map that you've done, you know, 350 DPM as a demo man, it's a relief, you know. I feel like if you look at the stats and you're like below 300, it could be a bit disheartening. But Aaron's not far behind, to be honest, in terms of the damage on that map. And I'd say 270 is ahead of everyone else on the server in terms of the classes. So not too bad there. But if you look on the, again, the side of these scouts, on the side of Plutu's Forest, like, they are living... Their survivability is definitely better, but they did get dropped quite a fair bit.
Yeah, it was kind of rough on that part, and that just matters so much. I mean, even just on the base value, right? The Met gets out of the fight faster at bare minimum, but even just keeping offensive pressure upwards as well is just not happening. If you just like suddenly are without a play on the beam as the medic, and it definitely came up once or twice.
I think both medics are actually looking a little more even as a result of just watching this map. I mean, Adam just looked solid all around, but definitely a better performance from Zuri as well. I saw the improvement with the Ubers. You know, that at the beginning they were, you know, struggling to really capitalize off the full, you know, duration of the Ubers, but this time they on this last push in particular, they just took it straight into them and used as much as they could, get as many frags as they could, to get the and then the point afterwards once they got the picks that they needed.
I think the key part of this map, though, I mean, just looking at the round timers as well, it will tell you immediately all of that, is that the stalemates were rough for both of these teams. You mentioned it a couple times. Specifically, of course, for the red team, they struggled to get bombs going, but not like it was very easy to get momentum going the other way either. They were just stuck on second a little bit more. But these stalemates have been rough on them. Up next is Granary, which doesn't exactly make that point much easier at all, I want to say. And if just like, I don't even want to say someone figures out how to deal with stalemates, if someone just gets lucky once in these stalemates, or if someone figures out something at some point during the map that works over the opponents in a stalemate situation, and you can convert this in any capacity, maybe not immediately around, but just to last and just grind it out from there, that's huge. That's something that both teams struggle so much with both maps. Obviously, less so maybe on map 1, but definitely more so on the second one. And if you can avoid the headache of the stalemates just a little bit more than your opponents, that just sets you apart so much on a game this close.
Yeah, and I think with the map picks as well, it's interesting because they've essentially ended up with 3 maps with, in particular, with a last that is, notoriously prone to be difficult to break and to push out of if any opportunity presents itself. And with the 5 minutes, like, it is a lot less of a worry here, as we've seen. Like, it didn't really play too much of a factor here into either map. I mean, we saw one round reset, just coming from the back of a situation which would have been on last, and I don't think it makes too much of a difference, but like, I don't know, a change of pace is what I would personally look for in the map picks. I'm probably certain that they did ban the maps they weren't as comfortable with, but like it's pretty rough seeing these 3 maps being played in a row, and not having like a gully wash in between, just to change the pace a bit, because as we know, gully wash is a very high scoring map. There's plenty of comeback potential, and Snakewater and Sunshine and Granary are notoriously very difficult, to get things going initially. And so far, it hasn't really been much of a talking point. But we might just see Plutu's Forest playing a bit more methodical, maybe getting that 1-round lead and then holding on to it and just slowly clawing their way, the points from the side of TeToSe and converting them just ever so patiently. And that's essentially what they did on Snakewater. They were probably not necessarily favoured in the deathmatch aspect, but just the engagements they were taking and how they played the map was just really, really interesting to see, and it was very effective. And I think they could potentially pull this off on Granary, but it's the different classes that shine here on Granary. It's the soldiers more than anything. So perhaps that could be another point altogether.
All right. It's coming down to the wire here between these 2 teams. We're going to map 3. The one that decides it all is the best of 3. Final one to go. Plutu's Force with a fairly confident performance. Map 1 started off hot. Couldn't quite keep it going for a very long time. Slow map 2. Eventually, Lit will crawl their way out of with just one last explosive mid-win on the golden cap, clutch it out in overtime. It's going to come down to Granary of all things to bring an end to this. It's coming down to the map where it all started. I'm pretty sure this map was here since the beginning anyway. Maybe not this version, but it's detailed. No one cares.
Yeah.
What matters now is this is going to be it. We'll see a winner of the match after this one final map. 30 minutes at least. I guess not even true technically, but most likely this will be a close match with anything to go by, considering the other 2 maps. Should be a nail-biter coming up. I don't know who I favor right now, because when Plutu's Forest was in control, they looked really good, and that was still a couple minutes at the beginning of the second map, but I don't know, Lit made it a really, really close game from the rest of that, and I don't want to say this will look any different here. It's just going to be a nail-biter to the end. I'm going to go with Plutu's Forest. I think they can clutch this one out, but I'm definitely not saying this with any good confidence.
I honestly, to make a prediction here for me is really difficult, because I think the potential of the soldiers from TeToSe is definitely there. Aralele could go huge once more, and this is the map where you would want to go huge, in particular as a soldier. But it all comes down to this first engagement, and Eren with a bit of a beefed rollout here. He is going to be significantly worse off when it comes to arriving on mid, and he's only just rolled out now. Cyrus getting this early damage on the high ground on the scouts. The health advantage is definitely there for the side of Plutu's Forest. They're taking this left-hand side. they're starting to make some pressure happen towards Garage with a soldier coming in, but he's disjointed, he's not with the rest of his team. And here comes the return bombs from the side of TeToSe, but they're also just having a bit of trouble here getting across to the enemy team's side. But the damage is enough in the end to... it's only 2 scouts left. Yugi's hiding in the corner with very low HP. Tries to go for something. Oh, that was a bit optimistic there. But in the end, it is literally winning it out, and the second scout comes in, but he gets it just on his own against an entire combo.
That's so weird, because they had Apatia behind, but Apatia went for the forward spawn camp for some reason. It doesn't matter in the end, I guess. They got what they were looking for. Didn't need the guy behind, just kind of awkward to see not utilizing every player for this one play you really need to go right instead of a random bonus play, but to each their own, I guess. There's more bonus plays happening where those came from. Totality trading with Boomer, maybe not the intended outcome there, but they got what they wanted, I guess. A quick fight on the flank over in no time at all, and now it's got awkward from here. They're still on second, there's still Soha on top of them as well. That will not go very far, I'm afraid, but still alive, still a threat in their mind at the very least.
Yeah, and that trade was good, but they just weren't in a position to really capitalize on it, so it's just going to reset here into, you know, let's just see, they have yard control. It is really up to them for what they opt to do in this situation. In Prem, we've seen a lot more teams play off the Ubers and the trades just to get a soldier to a bomb top and go behind, but they are playing off the Ubers. It seems as they are using this really small advantage here on the side of Plutu's Forest, but it ends up just costing them so dearly because it's almost like literally they read that like a book. They just cut it all the way to choke, baited them in, and then collapsed on them as soon as the Uber faded. So really well executed there, just punishing what was essentially a really bad push there with the Uber, a really bad trade attempt from the defending side. A little bit questionable there for Plutu's Forest, and perhaps the momentum might have swung outside of their favor going into this next mid.
It was over in no time. Once it started going wrong, there was no turning back anymore. They'll have to live with the consequences now. 1-0 early lead. I think the fastest one we had so far. The other one took 10 minutes. This went down in just about 3. Good start for the red team finally with the first lead of the map as well. Most notably here, but how will it look like in the next mid fight? Surely some lessons will be learned about how this is going to be played. Soldier bombs not deeply committed by the red team, much more on target by the blue squad already. Deep on the medic, getting the demo man as well. 2 soldiers down for demo medic. Doesn't sound so shabby, but you know what's coming next. Protect the castle. Adam can't die, but there's a scout sneaking up from the side that they were not watching. And that's the met down in no time at all. It's just coming down to a bit of a scrappy DM fight at the end. Soldier on high ground, trades with the scout, but leaves 2 alive to cap the point. Plutu's Forest begrudgingly wins the mid fight, I want to say. They could not save the medic there at the end, and that's just going to feel a little bit bad, even with the dub under their hands.
That mid definitely did look better for the side of Plutu's Forest. It definitely seemed like they were going to be the ones that were coming out on top just by the way the soldiers were able to execute those bombs. I mean, they didn't get as much value as I probably would have expected just from the positions they ended up with, being in with those bombs, but it was enough here. They kept their 2 scouts alive, and we all know how powerful just having those scouts in the late fight is, and that was enough to secure them the win there, as we now enter a stalemate that we haven't seen yet in this map. I mean, we have an uber advantage for the defending team, but you know, are they really going to play off slight adds here? I think they're probably going to play the lead here. The advantage that they have is dwindling. They know the enemy team is building. They're playing close to the chokes now, so they know that the Ubers are going to pretty much be equal, judging by the way that the enemy team is positioned. And really, it's just a matter of what the soldiers do, and just jumping in there, just getting caught by the traps of Eren. And normally, you'd really want to use the you know, you want to get those stickies out of the way before trying something like that. And
well, their opponents are doing exactly that. Just checking for the sticky trap, trying to take a fight through the open door there. It's got to be an early Uber from the red side in the end. Let's see, no one's getting dropped today, it seems. Can he really wrangle out good position out of this one on either team right now? Venom overextends, goes down, chasing all the way deep. It's going to be a costly one as the re-approach is already coming in. So from a pop everyone else from the lower entrance here. Bomb on the medic will get taken care of in time, but Adam's really weak. But he can stop people from chasing down on the medic, and that might just be good enough. This is even numbers. Find a single scout all alone. This is not the time to go on the lonesome there. Scout down for no reason, and that's just gonna end the fight right there. They had a chance to fight this 4v4, but they just didn't play this careful enough. This will turn around against their favor real quick from here. I'm surprised this didn't happen to be any worse immediately after the exchange, but both teams just hightailing it out of there when they could have been caught after the U was faded. And to a good result of Plutu's Forest, they're getting this all the way to the point already, not just a yard. They're giving them all this space for free to get the spawns up. And with that, Plutu's Forest finally in a really threatening position now.
Yeah, and a little bit.
I think his mic died again. RIP. Oh, it worked out after
It's
working
now.
There we go, there we go. You got it. Alright.
Yeah, I mean, we see a sack attempt into last. It was a bit weird to see Literacy not playing around the space there. Perhaps they're slightly playing on the, you know, they're 1-0 up on a map like Granary. They're probably all right with having, you know, not committed there, but they do end up being stuck on last as a result for the next few minutes here. And a double pick to open things up here is so important.
It's awkward though, both teams have a sniper right now, so you can't just freely peek. They might not know this already, but at this point actually they should probably. There's sniper watching down on the open door and has a free angle, and the sniper door isn't open anymore though. Venom's getting really lucky and probably didn't even realize. In the meantime though, Aaron trade for Boomer, this is, I mean, not quite what they wanted, right? Boomer just couldn't go deep enough to have an actual impact here on the last point, I'm afraid. Surprised to not see an NG swap at all, but I guess if there's a sniper lurking, then you still need to just be watchful at any time. Swatching off right now could be really bad if it's just the wrong moment with the sniper peeking, and they're keeping up the pressure the entire time.
Yeah, and here they go. They're taking the space here on the side of Plutu's Forest, something that Literacy weren't as eager in doing as far as their previous pushes have gone, and the Uber's coming out, but losing a scout, not ideal, and a soldier falling very weak. Oh, is he going to get cleaned up? The scout, yeah, chases him down. Or but perhaps overextending here into the Demoman, but no, the Demoman just gets outclassed at close range there. Not prepared for the scout to just commit all the way there across the point for that kill. And
this felt very much like Adam had like no intent to ever using an Adam, was just supposed to be a force, and
yeah,
suddenly there's just one guy going down, you're taking damage that you didn't expect to, you have to use, suddenly you're the worst position imaginable.
Oh no,
oh no, single player's going down.
Scout just being left alone on yard. Oh, he was just, I mean, the demo was rolling out, so perhaps it wasn't the best idea to stay in there, but he just had no support with him. And I mean, whether it was intentional or not to just to leave that player there, you know, as a result, they do just sack one essentially, and they're left with a player disadvantage for a small window. I mean, Yug is back up now to meet up with his players, and we're seeing another situation where it really is on Plutu's Forest here to break this.
We'll see if they can manage. It's gonna be a tough one. 9 minutes already played. Still plenty of time left on the clock, of course, of these teams. Assuming no disaster strikes and someone just gets 5 uncontested, of course. That might end the game a little earlier, I'm afraid. But no signs of that just yet. It's a very close map here. Both directions. Both teams just keeping each other in check for now on the mid to second stand. And this is what we pointed out a little bit as well last map already. This time it's been tough for people to break in the most traditional ways. These hacks have not been doing a whole lot of impact on Sunshine, and it didn't come down to too many of them on Snakewater either. But it was largely Plutu's Force control on that map, so I wonder if they have any large surprises left. It's going to be tough to make something really extraordinary happen. It isn't just a really big bomb, because I can't even think of what other good strategies there are at this point. There we go, it's just a big bomb for Boomer, but he's high in the skybox he would like to be in. It's a force to leave away. They double down on that, get a pad here involved as well, but hard to imagine the second soldier has fares much better at the end of it all than the first one. 2 down for the price of the Ewa. Sounds pretty good as an end result, but you still got to worry on mid now.
Yeah, the super high bomb, really good there, reminiscent of, I've mentioned him once before, but Starkey, that is his traditional Granary bomb to break the second stalemate and kill the medic, or get the force. Obviously, a much higher level player who's able to accomplish a lot more in his role, but we're seeing shadows of it here, but a soldier's actually been unspotted. Well, he does get spotted, but almost too late there. That was a bit scary, but, airshot opportunity. Well, can't be missing those as the soldier's still alive, but he's surely going to get killed by the scout here. There he goes. Blue team already taking the second point and getting the cap time. A little bit of resistance coming out from Lit2C, but nothing too out of the ordinary. But they are starting to commit now. The soldier's being tanked. The pocket soldier going for the exchange here, the defensive exchange, and
so much flashing on that as well. That's when just out of equation very quickly in all this. Blue team's very fortunate about that, I suppose. But what now? Demoman has to keep up the fight here, but they lose Boomer in the meantime. Soha covers the flank quite nicely. They're all taking a bunch of damage in the Shudder, though, in the meantime. Can't really keep up the pressure of this. And now things look like they slow down, but realistically, there's just more happening already that they can't see. Snobby goes drop down, sneaks up to a soldier, forces a 1v1 with the scout. Zoinks! It's a 2v1, in fact. He was there the entire time. Not gonna happen. Are they gonna dare anymore? They're already on 2. I didn't see a rally die, but it's not getting any better if you just keep committing now, right? You gotta just watch your lives at some point.
That was just too much of a hard commit off a trade that was equal. You know, when a trade's equal like that, you probably just want to reset, and they just get punished for trying to make a bust happen with the Ubers out of the equation. But I say punished, but Plutu's Forest haven't really taken much ground off of, you know, off of the opportunities that they've been given. I mean, they're still just, I mean, their flanks now made their way into Lunchbox and are pressuring now, but yeah, it seems that now they're trying to push to the point. Scout already through, but gets the force. It really questionable there. Just, I guess the threat of just losing your demo is a bit too much for Lenoa to deal with there. But the return Uber is coming in. Yug is on the beam, but 2 soldiers down. He's still chasing. This is not the best idea here. There is an opportunity for these 2 soldiers to go big on the side of Lit2C. Aralele comes in from the flank. 2 rockets to take down the
no one's with the medic. Adam all alone. That's just the easiest chase for the Red Flies to get. And everyone on blue is just basically spawning now. Timer might have forced their hands a little bit here. 40 seconds left on round timer after all, but wasn't a good play for them in the end. And spotted immediately as well.
Trying to commit on mid as well because they know the time is low. But Lit2C are so, they need to get this cap time down. They're really playing with fire here. I mean, there's only 1 soldier left on mid. I mean, they're fortunate enough to have gotten the kills when they could, but they left it almost to the last second there in getting that capture. But now they're in a favourable position. They have the Uber advantage secured. They have the soldier pick, so they're going to be moving into yard with this Uber advantage. And the scout already going down.
Check the trap, was looking into shooting at it and still walked forward into it.
Oh, no.
Don't do this at home, kid. Stay away from explosives. And let an expert handle them.
And that's actually going to stunt the push by a long shot. And oh no, and another scout's just begging to be deaded on there. Really playing with fire.
Oh, there you go.
There we
Wish
go.
being granted.
Just the sticks just not being cleared. Like, you really need to at least attempt to clear the sticks before playing the point like that. But arguably the point play not being the most optimal thing to go for. I mean, it hasn't really worked out for either team so far. I mean, if anything, the trades have been more impactful, even if they were just, you know, a trade into a reset for the team trying to attack. I mean, it opened a bit of wiggle room with the players overextending outside of yard, just trying to push, you know, perhaps you know, not having the knowledge of the map, maybe a bit too over-eager, I'd say, actually, in a situation that is actually just even, where you really don't need to make anything happen whatsoever at all. But once more, we are in an even situation. This time, we're on second again. We're not on yard. You know, Plutu's Forest. They've got 3 minutes to hold this, and whether they decide to make a bust is up to them, and they are trying to abuse this flank here, but the rotate is coming out on the side of Lit2C. They only have 1 soldier, though, on the flank.
We also have a drop-down play in the meantime here. We were fiending for an opportunity. No one's really coming close to him just yet, but maybe just surprise factor alone will be good enough. Doesn't commit yet. There has a scout there as well. Has everyone actually just watching the right side, calling the shots maybe for the soldier to make a move, but none of it is happening.
Aralele's like, he has eyes on that flank. Oh, he doesn't commit though.
They lost you and Shudder as well in the meantime. That's certainly calling off the push now.
Yeah. So there was like a window of opportunity to make something happen, but
you gotta be careful on these, right? On this map of all things, it's just so awkward. Once they have player ad, they just can muscle so much forward on space over the point. Don't want to overextend too much here.
You lose 1 soldier, and then you're left with another soldier holding like top, and if he gets bombed, you know, it's pretty much curtains for him. And here we go then, an exchange coming through. This is what I like to see, but again, these scouts, both scouts are just on both sides are getting dropped just consistently here, and it is not a good look for TeToSe here as they're forced to back out. Another kill being claimed by the side of Plutu's Forest, so looking good for them. Oh, look at this soldier bomb, just isolating a guy on the flank, Aralele, and is he going to get out? Oh, the jumps not as crisp as they were on Snakewater, just not being able to leave that time.
Pantia, in the meantime, was trying to chase on the medic all on his lonesome there, but everyone was there. It wasn't the smartest attempt to make the chase through into second like this all alone. Somehow got a worse spawn wave than DuMmTm by like a few frames, and suddenly there's just no soldiers for so long on the field. And trying to reap the reward, and Soha sure is doing that. Easy pickings on the combo. Who's left to deal with now?
Very rare to see from Adam. I think that was his first drop this game. The soldiers coming through, but it's two soldiers and a scout. The scout coming in. Oh, they do get the medic kill that they wanted in the end, and they do end up, you know, being in a situation where, okay, they have an uber advantage, but they are gonna... They do forfeit a little bit of ground here. Maybe a little bit of poking is in order for the side of TeToSe, but not if you're just pushing a demo man straight in, and the health on the scouts is not good either. The two soldiers there just doing the damage, it seemed, and it was just really questionable to commit there. I mean, if they were a little bit healthier, sure, you can poke, but you don't want to just commit your demo man straight onto the point like that. I mean, that was very, very risky.
It's very much on brand of it, right? They're just willing to throw things at the medic and hope for the best. It's admittedly not been the strong point for them this match, but they're still hoping for it, and I mean, they're in the lead. They have a little bit of wiggle room before this is getting dire. In fact, the advantage is really not there at all for the blue squad. However, if players just keep being up so hard, all alone and on mid, basically, is not certainly doing them any favors now. If that keeps being the case, you don't really need an Uber ad. You just still have options to play with, in this case, into second. Oh no,
big of an as they thought it would be, but it is enough with the soldier gets the flash, catches the medic in the doorway, so close to the Uber, but there is a big difference between actually having it in your hands to play off of versus, you know, not having it whatsoever, and that is a classic example as Plutu's Forest looking to take second here.
Yeah, this was really just a few seconds there deciding the entire fight, but they made the most of it here. Did feed a couple players later. The soldiers going down is annoying. Might actually cost them the point already, but at least it gets them into the yard. The over is still highly in their favor, especially with the situation at hand here. Lit needs to be careful how much they actually want to stay on the second point. Anything going bad here is just going to look really bad on last, because this is undoubtedly going to go there and come to. And they didn't even get the cap once the rally dies. And suddenly, this might just be a tight game waiting to happen. A couple of people weak on blue doesn't bode too well, but with this Uber ad, you gotta take your shot.
Yeah, they took a bit of spam there.
Not bad time for Mike to die again. Cyrus up in the sky, tries to see if they can find the medic. That's not gonna happen. 95, barely even out of spawn just now. They're having so much cap, and Soha gets in there to block this with all they can, but everyone's just slowly getting whittled away with, and one more rocket fire pad here. Doesn't even get the final kill, but it sure pushes them off the point. And that's just high ground nicely abused from the blue team. Last second drop down by the soldiers to clean up house. That's going to be a tied game once more. Plutu's Forest clawing their way back into the match.
And I think as the end of the season draws near, I think the end of my Mike's life is also drawing near. You know, it's been I mean, of course, it's in such a, you know, of course, when it's the time I want to say something, it always cuts out. But we head into next mid. High bombs coming out from the soldiers. Aralele getting picked off first, and frags being the aggression coming out from Plutu's Forest not being as solid as we've seen it. Just the soldiers not getting much done on their own, and no real follow-up to boot. They're just left trying to fight the enemy combo on the point. I mean, they get one more frag to boot, but that's pretty much it. With no scouts, they're just all the way out onto yard here, and there's probably not really a good enough opportunity here to even hold, but they're trying to do their best to get some damage, lay the foundations, and with the scouts spawning Plutu's Forest, they're looking to contest yard here, and they do fend off that aggression. Nicely played there. just with the spam and just keeping them in check, the enemy DuMmTm. But all they're trying, let's see what they do here. They're going to try and abuse the fact that the sticky traps are only just
right above them though as well. He's just looking down from drop down, waiting for someone to make a move. They're not overextending too much just yet. At the end of the day though, right, an open game, in the open grand finals I guess, right, the final match of our lowest division in ETF2L, seeing the new squad come down to this little of a difference is just good for competition, right? Everyone's just fought to the bitter end here in this match to see who comes out on top.
Oh, here we go. Big opportunity. Oh, but the pipes coming through. Aralele getting picked off. You had a really good opportunity there. It was unfortunate that it didn't go to plan.
Counter attempt by Blue into mid as well. Apache trying. Venom gets the kill out of this onto Aaron of all people. DuMmTm down. Combo already fought back quite a bit. Venom wants so much more, maybe even too much. Running up more than they can chew in the end. Volatility stuck in the skybox afterwards, though, will not escape either. It's a big old trade on numbers, but Plutu's Forest with a lot of confidence in this one. They just got the one kill and just took so much space in the moment the DuMmTm was taken out of the equation here. This just fell like dominoes, and it's not over yet. There's more pieces to fall. Medic maybe barely alive, but I mean, a noob out of the equation this early does not look good at all.
Oh, and they're deciding to rotate here to right side yard. Though, okay, Soldiers just managing to rotate on the side of Plutu's Forest here to the towards the flank, so there is an opportunity to get something done, but Aralele is denying this flank so well. The force does come through, but they were playing rather close. Potentially could have gotten caught here, but the scout speed just coming in clutch there for the side of Plutu's Forest. They managed to cut that out really well in the end, playing, you know, in a position where they were close, but they weren't close enough.
Where's going? They're losing players and they're sending one to go in for the backup play when everyone's watching the flank. No chance in hell that was going to work. Now that it's 2 down on mid for no reason, it feels like almost with advantage, mind you, but do you really want to use this back into mid to get it back, or this could be just Uber for last potentially instead?
Yeah, it all depends on what happens here, because they get their forward spawns. They definitely have the opportunity now to go back into mid with this, and it seems like they do want to use that advantage, and Hugh just takes it straight forwards, gets a nice pick onto the Soldier, and Aaron actually getting caught as well. So 2 really, really good picks here going from the side of Plutu's Forest, and they want to get that stack. They want to deny this Soldier, the early Soldier kill that they got, and it seems like they are going to do that as well with another pick as well. That looks like Venom is just, I don't know what's happened in the last 5 minutes, but he's just gone full aggression mode, and he is getting punished for it, but I mean, he's got some value out of it. Nice scout kill there. I mean, it's not as effective as perhaps a Soldier kill would be on this map, but this man is feeling himself. Maybe a bit too much here, but we'll see.
We'll see. I mean, you got to test the waters to see what you can get away with. For now, it's a bit awkward, right? Still Uber this head after all this back and forth just now. But this time around, Red Team doesn't have to pop to get out of here. Venom, like you said, just being on a mad one, doesn't get away with it at all this time around. It's just one down. They still don't have Uber. It's
open
not
flank
all coming
here.
through others yet. There's the Soldiers coming through into mid as well, getting so much damage. Boomer getting taken down. The medic still waits for a little bit longer. Can't land on the pack though. And Cyrus just desperately in for the counter attempt and deletes the medic like it's no one's business. Lands a beautiful pipe sticky combo. Patty gets one more for good measure.
It's
now
winnable.
it's left to Scouts.
Oh, the
he
trade.
gets the trade of all things.
Yeah, he pre-fires that corner to perfection. Aralele, that was so good there. That one rocket he fired pretty much ended the fight there and then. You collecting the trade frag, but I mean, it ended up being, you know, better for the attacking side, all things considered. Lipfam getting a 1v1 onto Venom as well. He's been, you know, on a bit of a mad one. He does collect another. That's another death on his logs there.
Why Venom is like feeling forced to do this as well. Volatility has been getting away with so much random shenanigans on Scout. Probably also gotten away with only half of them as well in the grand scheme of things, but the ones that work are the ones that are standing out when it's killing your medic, for example, right? And it happens just one too many times. They're feeling forced to take drastic measures as well now, and mixed results on Venom's department right now. It's not the end of the world, it's not losing them the game, but it just takes one small mistake and it's all falling apart from here. Ubers are up now on both sides, 5 minutes left. Round timer is lower than that though, so that still matters at the moment. Yeah,
and I think like Venom just realised the midpoint was capped. He probably wanted to go for something with his Soldiers, and it might have been miscommunicated. You know, he wasn't. He does get a lot of one thing he does do is he does take the space, and if he's able to link up with his team, then I think he'll be very effective, because he definitely has the deathmatch abilities. And look at this flank from Boomer. He does get taken down in the end, but getting a soldier pick on the side of the team that owns mid is really, really nice here. It does open up a short window for them to do something, and once the respawners are here, it's just a matter of, I mean, Aaron is just spamming Garage at the moment. He doesn't have any traps, so if they wanted to make something happen, now is literally the second to do it, but they're not looking too eager so far to make anything happen. I mean, they still see the stickies from Aaron being, you know, deaded, and surely they can make something of this, perhaps try and punish him for being a bit more over-aggressive. I mean, there's no real reason to peek that far into Garage, really, other than just to bump those stats up, really. I mean, at what point do you just lock the doors down and be done with it, rather than just going for damage that might not be worth it in the end? I mean, all things considered, nothing's really happening, so I mean, I guess there's no real, you can't really fault him for doing that.
There we go, Boomer's leaping in, trying hard to get stopped by the scout so much. Wait, it is, a Pat here just sneaks in a bit of damage. It wasn't even all that much. Missouri will give it to them really early. That is 2 soldiers going down. They can't afford to drop anyone in the unit. No. Take it down. Venom's also trying to fight out the entire combo by himself. These people are the mad one today, and this is just too late to be doing any funny business. Random Matt gets stuck on the wall there just a tiny bit, but the soldier does get in time. There's Rally trying to catch up. 90 health, gets around the corner here, almost to the medic. There's no pipes flying in, but he can't find Lever.
No, and Adam lives there. I mean, he has been known, I mean, both teams have been known for dropping their scouts in crucial situations. That was one of them. But he stays alive, but with no soldiers to boot. I mean, it's going to be so difficult locking out this choke point. I mean, Cyrus is having to reload his sticky bombs. He doesn't have anything loaded at the minute. He was just spamming pipes.
Mowing down people, rotates to the flank after the over the point, immediately gets a weak soldier in front of the crosshair. That's 2 down in no time at all. This needs to matter right now. 2 minutes left. The round right now would be so huge. You're trying to bust through early soldier. That
this is great.
So that's more damage there. That's an early fall out of them, but Adam has nothing. They're just pushing out on 25% disad, and they're all going to crumble for it.
They just commit too hard. They committed their heels too hard for that one, and what looked like a good force attempt just it's potentially game losing now. I mean, we're looking at just 2 minutes on the clock, and potential for TeToSe to get around here, and the cap time coming through from the soldier.
The heavy isn't fast enough, and soldier didn't drop down in time.
No way.
Actually, did so much, but it's just still too late. 1:35 left on the clock. This is doable, but it has to be the fastest round you've ever seen.
That was holdable as well. That's what's really crushing about that. As you mentioned, the heavy not fast enough. The scout would have been the correct play there. And, oh man, that is just so upsetting to see. But it is now on Plutu's Forest to make a comeback here. They're not going to mid. They're not going to mid.
I've seen this go bad so many times. I don't know if I trust an open team to do this right. But then again, it's also an open team having to break this, so you never know. These dynamics have been rough on these teams, and they only got less than a minute to figure this one out.
Oh no, but are they going to make the same mistake of not checking the sticks? They check them.
Oh no.
Okay, they bust through. They bust through. It's good enough. They can still make something happen here.
On the medic misses him point blank.
They have the space here to work with. They can go for a potential trade here. Oh no, but
there's the damage. No party comes in to clean up. No one's alive.
Unbelievable.
40 seconds left. They have an Uber as well. There's gotta be like 2 spawners, maybe 1. It's Snowy against the world, and all Adam has to do is just pop on site.
Venom is coming in as well, and there's no one there. There's just he's not gonna get fast enough to block.
They clutch it.
Yeah.
What did I say?
Amazing.
I will never trust any team below Prem to not go to it.
Is Eames watching right now? Because
Eames would be proud.
Eames would be proud, but I mean, if it worked out, he would have been proud. I mean,
no, he's just happy if he could do it.
I'm sure if he was casting this, he would have, you know, a word or two to say about the second
he would have a lot of words, I think, for the open game.
Yeah,
this would be a whole map talk.
Yeah, a whole map talk, and maybe a whole like
bonus demo review for free.
Yeah, and a few mentoring sessions to boot. Maybe.
This was a game you have no right to lose, right? If they choke this golden cap now, you have no one else to blame but yourself. This is going to be so rough on you. If this somehow escapes your hands, such like a relief, I guess, of TeToSe, right? They almost were in that position now. They choked a very horrible last point, immediately made up for it. Just appeased the fans, I suppose. But they're not out of it yet. And there's just a whole nother golden cap to come. One more set of overtime.
Oh man, that was that's the thing that I like about Granary, right? Especially on that mid to second. If you are opting to just neglect the midpoint there and play that position, you really run the risk of being susceptible to trades from once if you know Aaron had his traps down, but he wasn't able to quite get the debt that he wanted. He didn't get the picks that he wanted. He could have gotten a lot more value out of that. But it's these small opportunities in Granary that you have to abuse. I mean, once they cleared those sticks and they were taking that ground, I was like, there's no way they can lose this. I mean, they're taking the ground. They're confident. Their DM is certainly strong and just playing off the space, and then they were in a situation on second indoors where they had the opportunity to trade as the attacking team. I mean, that was really, really good, looking good for them, and it was so scrappy in the end, but they win the DM fight, and that is what is important. I mean,
once they started going, there was no stop anymore, and they couldn't handle them at the beginning. There's no end to that. That's not going to be exactly this.
It was great to see, and it made for such an exciting end to the first half of this map. We still have the second half.
Effectively, I guess. Hopefully.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no legal way this can last 30 minutes. I suppose that's on the bright side. We're not Australians. We have evolved past this, luckily. But that doesn't mean it might be over quick. This has been some slow rounds for sure, but I mean, one mistake on mid again, right? It can go quite some distance here. This happened both directions now. If you mess up on mid, this could just be the end of the game right there. You got to be real careful, and I always like to say the golden cap just brings out two things in people. More often than not, it's people playing it safe. But every once in a while, you have just people be going like ape mode and just go balls to the wall and risk it all.
I don't think my memory really serves me correctly here, but I'm pretty sure that we didn't really see as many golden caps. Excuse me, my language. Golden caps in the Premiership division this season. I mean, as far as I was aware, casting the games, I didn't really. There wasn't really many situations where I was put in a position of casting this. So to see two in a best of three is quite surprising. This is a new, fresh spin on things.
We'll see. I like that taking the time here as well. Everything's on the line now for the golden cap. You want to make sure that at the very least the mid fight you go for is the best one for the situation. We've seen what happens when you choose the wrong one at the wrong time. Just a moment ago. A mistake could be costly right now. You are well forgiven taking a minute here to just take a breather. Make sure you're mentally in this, not frustrated from what just happened on either side, really. I mean, for all intents and purposes, could have just been avoided even going to 2-1 to begin with, right? Let alone now 2-2, so it's a tough one.
And as well with the mental aspect that you were alluding to, like the mental aspect of not showing up to mid and then losing the round to go to golden cap, to being forced to play mid again. I mean, how is that going to make you feel as a team? You know, you didn't even want to chance it just a couple of minutes ago. So how that's going to affect your chances of, coming back and winning this mid fight on a golden cap. I mean, it's not like it's impossible, but like just from a psychological perspective, I mean, it's pretty daunting to say the least in a high stakes game like this.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, this always comes up, especially in open grand finals, right? There's no chance a lot of these people have been through this long games before, right? Mm-hmm. Like, stamina is a very real thing in these situations, just having the mental fortitude to just stick with it until the very end. None of them played a match that went to 3 maps this season. Might have in the past, but even then, it might have been like 1 or 2 at best, right? This does not happen much to you if you're new, so being able to play the closest to your A game is really important. I can't extract exactly the A game this late into a match, maybe, but you gotta be up there in the alphabet to have a chance to compete anymore.
Yeah, and here we go into this potentially deciding mid fight. both teams arriving on mid this time. And we see Plutu's Forest playing on their own side, trying to take control of the garage area, but it's just one soldier on his own. The other scout just left on the crate with the other on catwalk, and Boomer goes in for a bomb. Medic just gets the pack in time, but the scouts are still committing. They probably think that the medic is much healthier than he is, and gets out with a sliver of health. I mean, even though you got the pack there as a medic,
oh, the counterbomb almost did it as well. 10 HP on Adam, gets the pack in time. Both meds barely getting away with this one somehow.
Yeah, I mean,
after all of this,
just because the pack's there still doesn't mean you're entirely safe. And I mean, what just transpired on that mid definitely backs up, you know, that sort of idea. And Venom getting caught by Sticky Trap, I mean, trying to look for a space to pressure from the shutter door, but a bit too overzealous in doing that, and with another soldier being caught high and dry on the flank. I mean, this just forces Plutu's Forest to hold passive in yard, and they're eventually just going to neglect it. I mean, the flank has already been, you know, busted, very much so on the side of Literacy, with the soldiers coming in onto mid, the positioning all on the side of red at the minute, and with the cap time coming their way, we're going to end up being in a stalemate on second here.
Yeah, you know, have this very easily, just trading back the points. A little bit back to stale, right? Venom once again just really callously over the point. Boomer really late is still in on Lunchbox as well, just getting a bit ahead of themselves here. They started having a good situation, and suddenly there's just people going off to their own adventures again. Can't really afford these unless you really have a good shot at something, at a player there to get an early kill, and neither of them in that position will cost them dearly. There's two people going down. It costed them a chance attack, and it costed them yard control, it cost them mid. That is so much ground lost off of like small lazy mistakes. You can't afford anything to go wrong from here. Boomer tries to cover the flank, also weak early. Oh, but the cover damage is there. Look at that. Boomer can fall back, or the rest of them just taking the position there to deal the damage towards Garage. Make this pretty easy for the soldier to survive. Gets them a kill. It's not bad, but we've seen them take this point with just one kill before, so maybe they have it in their hand once again. Certainly a lot of pressure forcing a rotation, but it's Aaron getting the kill, not the other way around. They're all staying alive on red for now.
Yeah, and with that one pick, it is down to TeToSe here to make something happen. I mean, they can be a little more careful with how they approach this. They do have, you know, a fair amount of time on their side, but it's not that big of a difference.
Oh, Aaron did us as well. They're being so keen on the flank, but they're just walking into the heavily contested choke point for one soldier kill on the flank, completely disregarding the combo. I don't agree with this risk reward here at all, yeah. And for now it looks like they might regret their decisions as well now. I really tried to get a bomb in there, couldn't really get far enough with anything at all though. Midpoint taken back pretty fast. At least this took long enough to get the forward spawn. Still, everyone's back on the point up now. This is just traded position. This is not the end of the world. They can't easily, at least, make a move from here, but that hasn't stopped anyone before.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. As the positioning from the demo again wasn't so great. I mean, it forces TeToSe now to be in the defending position. Scout tries to go through, but without knowing that 100% that those sticky traps are cleared, it's very difficult to make anything happen whatsoever on the flank there. That's just an easy kill there for Aaron to pick up, and they are trying to pressure here. Scout on the high ground. He does get a lot of work done. He draws a lot of attention to himself and brings the soldiers down from the high ground. I mean, the one soldier in particular falling very weak, so there was potentially an opportunity there, but there wasn't like a clear-cut opening, I guess, opening call or call for initiation or something, or backup, or something further to really convert that into something greater than what it was. But here we go then. They're pressuring Choke. This is interesting.
They're just going straight in, actually. There's no subtleties about it. Just throw in the soldier with a couple of pipes flying in as well. Don't need any subtleties. If you just hit your rockets, and Boomer does just that. Zurian 30 health, certainly more than has to use their patches support. A little bit needs to be careful to not just get overwhelmed by people flanking besides them there a little bit. And that's very much happening. Snobby somehow ended up behind them, just waddling forward on the pack as well. Awkward one, but wins it on 10 HP. It's gonna be a little more than a trade. Surprised to see all of this go down. Surprised no one else was watching the left side there all so much, but you take a 1-for-1 trade if it means you don't have to worry about anything, taking the midpoint for sure, and it forward from here as a whole.
mean, they weren't really watching any doors
Oh,
there.
small little air shot there on second. It gets the soldier weak, but it really looks nice with it. But they don't get anything out of it. In the meantime, they realize as well, this is
Opportunity
coming their way. They can't stay forward and shutter.
You go straight through there, leading this Uber, and gets a soldier, so there is something to work with here. 80% on the side of the enemy medic, and the soldier bombs in straight into the sentry gun. The second one coming in late onto the demo man. Knows that he was separated from the beam, but unsuccessful there. And I mean, it was a nice attempt with the Uber, and the soldiers, perhaps they went in a little bit, you know, one after the other, but it's nice to see that attempt there, all things considered. But we are now going to see the Uber in the hands of TeToSe, and you know, it really is their time to make something happen. I mean, they have a small window to work with here, but they could definitely capitalize on this, but not if they realize that their advantage is actually slowly dwindling.
They're still making a move here as well. Oh, Boomer just goes into force. No, they're sending the Devil on point, and there's nothing much with the medic anymore. All the way back in the on garage. It's a quick little force there. You lose the point. I already gave it
The
up
rotation is in.
There we go.
Yeah, rotation comes through. Demo man and 2 scouts through the choke point, getting a pick onto the soldier, who was
Need
caught.
to use Eva somehow. That's cutting it close. We've seen Scout doing like disappointing drop before, but they took some damage and it was fine this time around. Scout in the backlines tries to go for funny one. Everyone's looking at it happening though, so not much comes of this. Takes people's attention away, slows things down forward maybe, but surely this is not enough.
He's
right?
dragging the whole combo back. He's dragging every single player back, and they haven't even capped mid yet. So
they're actually going back in as well. Look at that.
Literally,
Everyone's back on point.
no, but not with losing a scout so early like that. Yeah, they were just so desperate for the force, they just sent a scout in. I mean, on his own.
That was awkward. That was the scout that was behind, somehow just working their way past everyone back into the middle of the fight, actually.
Yeah, that's true. That is the scout that was behind. So I eat my words there. That was actually a nice play there to live for so long and actually be a threat to force. But an exchange comes in, a bit of an awkward one. Adam has to flash so much, gets caught in the choke. But could they be baiting them into this choke here? Pipes coming through, but they get the picks.
They're dropping 3.
And the flank not being watched here. Plutu's Forest is so quick here just to forfeit the midpoint, it seems, and they just go through garage. But the flanks at the doors are not being watched as a result, and they lose a few more than they would have expected. They lose their demo man as well as their soldier, so there's room here for TeToSe to make something happen. And with no sticky bombs on the entrance of garage, they just bust through.
Oh, nice rockets for
no.
Boomer, takes them out the sky, but it's the 2 for 3. They want Bordeaux. They're all this far forward. They don't want to fall back anymore, but it looks like slowly but surely they realize what's happening around them here. Rally left behind, everyone else just dodges away. Everyone else being really just a medic. Aaron's not even on the beam right now. Now, they might not notice. Once you see Aaron here, you should notice, but I don't know if they will realize this is actually really good advantage now, because Zuri was just completely alone, leaving all of this behind.
Oh, that's such a big crumble from the side of TeToSe. They commit a bit too hard, and I mean, Plutu's Forest just destroyed them. I mean, they're soldiers that you wouldn't normally expect a soldier to be so effective in the open space, but they just destroyed them in that yard area, leaving them no room to breathe and just killing everything in sight. But here we go, they're busting the flank with this Uber charge. I mean, the Ubers are going to reset, but they still want to take this in anyway. 2 soldiers down, this is the time to go if you are on the side of Plutu's Forest. They want to take the ground that they have with this, and they take the Uber straight in. This is such a good trade for them, but they lose their demo man. This is now really, really bad for them. The flank
Snobby
though,
down earlier, Patty
the
up
flank,
top doing some good damage.
the 2 soldiers haven't even yet spawned for the side of TeToSe,
Boomer's
so
going in as well. No one else is with this. It's just Boomer alone on the medic. He's not going to get it as
scouts.
well. Scout on a point. Aaron hits all the pipes he needs to. And then some. This was so disconnected by the blue team. They just went for completely different plays from each other. Even the exchange in felt weird, because everyone was so forward on point. Of course someone's going to be taken down. You can't flash everyone this quickly, if not for risking a really, really short Uber, and I don't think that's much better of an exchange there either. But just conflicting calls on Plutu's Forest costing them so much right now.
I think it would have been better if they, you know, they had a scout and a soldier, and then have the demo man just hold the shutter, because you can send the soldier behind with the flash, when with the no soldiers to that really juggle him out of that position. Like, I mean, he gets behind, and he can do a lot more than just, you know, what he did was holding the shutter with the demo man and just, you know, eating the same damage essentially. I mean, they don't really do much in terms of the flank. I mean, that they came in afterwards, which was good, but they really didn't take the space that was required of them in the first place. I mean, it was just a scout and then a demo man being caught on the point. One pick going the way onto the demo man though, that's pretty huge here, and oh no, but the soldier being trading out, he just jumps the high ground, but the scout is just waiting for him there in garage, just in ramp room.
Huge damage with Cyrus spam on the high ground. I already died from 4 damage. It will help get the force as well, but it costs him a lot of players. 3 go down in one fell swoop. Adam still has to use the Venom. Once again, so far away from anything else happening in these fights. Will just go down all on the Lonesome, and Zombie. This is not looking any good for Plutu's Forest. Medic might be just about getting out of this one, but no chance on mid. Lost yard already, and there's still 2 down by the time they get to the point. Looking dire for this second cap.
I wouldn't say it's over just yet, though. They have players in position. I mean, their soldiers aren't really healthy, but neither are the TeToSe at the minute. They're both just exchanging spam in the shutter door, not really poking the flank too hard here. No one's really made their presence known, in fact, in the lunchbox, so we are just going to reset into a bit of an even situation with TeToSe having a slight Uber advantage here, but I'm not sure if they notice it's as big as, you know, as well, as slight as it is. I mean, it is still an advantage, but they are looking to dot push it.
You gotta try quick.
No, they get it.
They get Adam down as well. Oh no, is this it? Surely you can do something good. Right, 2 down, no heals. Leave some people behind on cap on second. They're just going deep for the demo man. Get that kill early. Heavy out of spawns, only up on high ground. Some decent damage by Boomer, but he gets as well. Spawns is still such a long time away for most of them. It's just you and Adam coming up soon, but maybe they've done enough. They've taken down 2 already, and there's the rest of the spawns coming up to point now as well. Heavy goes down early, but there's you on backup already.
Oh, you missing a few shots there, a few crucial shots, but he's done enough to pressure that demo man out of the fight, so he's done his
advantage though.
Oh yeah, it's still advantage, because remembering Adam did die to that Uber into the well, indoors in the shutter door. He got caught out, so we are going to see it. What was going to be like a 30% is just creeping up ever so slightly into a 40.
Yeah, no one building on a team without a scout and open. I mean, it's not too surprising, but you gotta worry about these things early force. But is that any good? They were gonna use it anyway, past the gun, right? Aaron dies for the jump in on the gun. That feels kind of strange, but I mean, it might be worth. They're getting so much damage going deep early behind him, so I can just shoot everyone from the back where they're going. Point. Soha up top does the rest of the damage, and Lit will win. 13-minute golden cap. Might be a long one, but they will come out on top and claim this final round. Now the winners of each of the Season 42 open.
Pushing on Tiny had sealed the deal, it seemed.
Yeah.
They were left in a position where they could go into last with a full Uber. Soldier commits a bit too much for the force there. It might not have been necessary, and then it kind of just snowballed from there. And oh, what a game it was, though. I mean, it was kind of a bit of a deja vu moment, a bit of a funny moment to see, you know, the medic getting caught being close to Uber again in a shutter door, because that already happened to TeToSe, you know, not so long ago. I mean, it is quite an unfortunate turn of events that it happens to the opposite team, and that ends up losing them the game. Something they did so well, executed so well, eventually becomes the losing factor for them. And but all things considered, that was really exciting finals, and that was the finals I wanted, I think.
Yeah, I think this is the finals everyone would want, right? Regardless, I guess maybe if you want to lose, there's an argument. Maybe you don't want to have it drag out so much. But I mean, at the end of the day, it was a very competitive game. You love to see it overall. It just came down to a little bit of clutch factor, right? They had their mind in it. The small mistakes didn't happen at the end anymore for Lit. We're just defending just enough when it mattered and kept their wits, right? The blue team just getting a little bit desperate at the end. Just more and more like small fights on the flank piling up that barely ever worked for what it's worth as well. Just trying desperately to just win it with DM in 1v1s, but it just didn't pan out their way. And they will get punished for it. Players down where it really counts, and all the way back to last in no time from there.
Yeah, and I would say that is definitely, well, a weak point in these two teams is definitely the flank. I mean, um, all things considered, I think there wasn't like a particular player that played badly. I just think that for this level, they all played really solid, and even though the flank was a bit of a weak spot,
I mean that's the main thing of
yeah,
it, right? You are like categorically, obviously, on the lowest level on ETF2L. Even if you're the best in Open right now, we're probably moving up quite a bit. Might not even go low. Who knows? Sometimes they skip that, go straight to mid. You never know for sure. But point is, you get a couple of weeks to celebrate yourself, basically, to be happy about this. But at some time in the future, business will go on as usual, and then you have to immediately worry about what's like not so good anymore and step up to the task. So they can enjoy themselves a little bit here, but there's always another season.
yeah, and these two teams, I mean, they had both had a great season. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, if any time at all, someone like as far down as 6th seed into playoffs gets into Grand, that is impressive. Making this close a fight as well.
And just giving us a real good show in the making. And I mean, these logs. I mean, for such an exciting game, I mean, I think the action that was presented was probably more interesting, exciting than the logs were ever kind of hoped to be in this situation. But yeah, we do see some fairly good numbers on the side of the projectile classes. I mean, nothing too surprising for Granary.
So many games at times.
Yeah.
For sure. So does Butchai in that moment, especially on this second point of all things, right? Being a huge factor as well, just controlling space and being able to actually chase people down as well, all the way into potentially the last point as well. A little of that, I suppose, this map, but still, you gotta be there in these clutch moments. It doesn't matter if you don't get as many kills as your opponent does. If that just what you hit matters more in the context of the situation. And I mean, there we go. It's gonna be some clutch moments for the Red Squad in the end, right? Just able to save it, and being able to just like edge away some DM fights here and there, and just always claw something close out, even if they lost the mid fights, right? Just always just keeping the fight going to the last second.
Yeah, and there were situations where I think Adam's performance is a bit interesting because he played really consistently on Snakewater, and he kind of held that up quite well on Sunshine. But on Granary, he got caught out just a little bit more, and I would have said the difference in Medic, gameplay would have been slightly in his favor, but as the maps went on and as it really did drag on, we really got to see, the beauty of Zuri and Adam, making a few more mistakes, and it was certainly exciting to see. I mean, his positioning was really good, but I mean, I guess it comes down to the overall team play at the end of the day.
I mean, at the end of the day, right, mental fortitude is a real thing, and these were the last two maps were like long ones with golden caps as well, right? Sorting through that much of overtime as well. To get to this point, it's going to be mentally exhausting, and the mistakes might just pile up a little bit more on one side than the other, and one team's more ready for it. That will show just that tiny bit, and I feel like beyond maybe the medic as well on the flank, like you said as well, it's a little bit more lazy play, just wanting to brute force openings there to get Boomer and Venom into the back lines, and it just didn't quite work out most time as intended. And suddenly there's just a huge opening to play off and just a much less protected medic as well to bring it back to point, and suddenly it just spirals out of control, and those sort of mistakes that just sneak up a little bit more on this map than on either of the other two. And suddenly you find yourself with your backs against the wall, and in grand finals, that's not a place you want to be.
Yeah, and we did see, a few situations where the teams did have their backs against the wall, and then, suddenly a round would just come out of nowhere, and as we saw leading up to that golden cap, that was, a perfect example of that. And I thought that Granary was going to be, a rather slow kind of 7 kind of slow die sort of game where we just see the rounds, just every 5 minutes just tallying up and into eventual either mercy rule or just parking the bus. But That didn't happen. It was action-packed throughout, and even though both medics did a really good job of surviving, I mean, there was crazy situations where both medics ended up dropping on either side, and frags being constantly exchanged. I mean, very high amount of deaths in this game, and that's not to disrespect the teams, but that's just to show how high-paced and kind of high-octane this match was. I mean, no one was really going out of their way too much to overextend. I mean, Venom got a bit overzealous towards the end of Granary, but in particular. But I mean, you could say that for some of the other players on the team at other points. Maybe we just nitpicked on him because he was just alone in an unfortunate time, maybe at the wrong place at the wrong time. Maybe looking for opportunities that his team wasn't quite aware of or weren't quite following. But yeah, very high death, high damage game, and it was certainly, when you're looking for a DM fest, this was definitely one to boot. There was a nice mixture of strategy as well, and brute force is what really ended up being the deciding factor in this whole series, I think, and that's what made it exciting to watch.
Yeah, for sure. With that all set now, once again, congratulations to the winning team. Lit will take home the crown for the Open Division. That is, however, not all of Grand Finals left to go for ETF2L Teamfortress. In fact, it's the first one. If you are in Division 2, please bully the Div 2 players to schedule their game. I can see the match page, it's empty still. If they want to have a chance to get their game covered as well, they should probably get on that. I cannot schedule a game with people that don't tell me when it's happening. That being said, Premiership, the big one, the one everyone's waiting for, is going to be Thursday night, 21:15, as per usual. And I believe next Tuesday or something in a week or now. So yeah, I believe on the 9th is Division 1. That's the ones I have knowledge of right now. So keep your eyes peeled for those two. Div 1 going to be late, Prem, nice and on schedule. So those are going to be really nice. We'll see what happens in between. There's a couple of divisions left. We'll see what we can make time for here on TFTV once again. Trying to highlight people in Grand Finals if at all possible. We'll see what we can do. Stay tuned. Follow the channel to not miss any action. Same time for Europe as per usual. 21:15 roundabout will be when the stream goes live if there is one for the day. And we'll see you guys on Thursday.